News. This is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story today is Utah's postmark deadline for mail-in ballots. Ballots need to be marked by the post office by the end of the day to count. Ballots can be put in mailboxes before today's pickup times, but people who want to be extra sure can physically bring it into the post office and have it postmarked at the desk. You can also leave ballots in official election drop boxes through 8 o'clock tomorrow night. As of this morning, 46.2% of ballots have been returned in Utah. The lieutenant governor says over 659,000 of those were through the mail. Over 23,000 were returned in person. Grand County has the highest percent of voter participation. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The final ABC News Ipsos poll before Election Day shows Vice President Kamala Harris 3 points ahead of former President Donald Trump nationally. Details from ABC News political director Rick Klein.
74% of Americans say we are on the wrong track going into Election Day. That's an astounding number. It includes half of Harris supporters, 98% of Trump supporters. Wild numbers. And those are the kind of things that are just typically brutal for an incumbent party. But, of course, this is an unusual year in so many ways.
The numbers between the presidential candidates have barely budged since she entered the race over the summer. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 0.3%, down 142, but the Nasdaq is up 38 points, and that's about 0.2%. Coming up, we'll be cooler today and tomorrow, a chance of rain and snow, but KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02. What's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
It's about time someone offered you a complete custom kitchen and bath, remodeled, designed, and built to your specifications and style in just 3 days. It's about time someone offered you a written, unconditional 100% satisfaction guarantee on both their quality and craftsmanship. It's about time someone gave you free professional design and decorating assistance to create your perfect kitchen or bath. And when you remodel your kitchen, you'll save $500 off a complete custom bathroom. Call 3-Day Kitchen and Bath today for your free copy of the Home Remodeling Guide, plus $500 off a complete bathroom remodel and a free design consultation.
It's about time.
3 days or less
At 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
This is Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group and host of Stop Working and Start Living Radio. If you're close to or in retirement and you don't have a tax plan, call us right now, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Listen, our country's been spending like never before, and the tax bill is coming soon. If you need an income tax strategy and a financial plan that will get you through the rest of your life, give my team a call, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. If you want an investment plan that allows you to keep more of your gains and pay less taxes, give us a call, 888-999-6370. My team specializes in the type of plan that will get you retired 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible. So, get a no-cost tax analysis by calling 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. My team is standing by now.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's winds blowing across a fruited plain, and also your new fire pit, which subsequently sets your gazebo ablaze. It's hard-hitting football and an even harder-hitting price estimate from your general contractor. That's a star-spangled bummer. It's also around-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
We've got a multi-vehicle crash southbound I-15 right at the start of the exit to Pleasant Grove down in Utah County. 2 right lanes in the right shoulder are blocked. It has traffic backed up into American Fork, but you can get by in the 4 left lanes next to that exit. And then we have a new crash northbound. It's just coming off of I-215 on the east side as you exit onto Foothill Boulevard, and it is blocking the left lane, everybody getting by on the right there. The rest of I-15 has a few brake lights here and there, both directions trying to get into downtown Salt Lake. Tax problems keeping you up at night? Get the IRS off your back. Let Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox stop IRS harassment now. Visit taxhelput.com. That's taxhelput.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be a change from the stormy weekend weather. Highs will be in the mid-40s with sunny skies. Right now it's 37 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, by this time Wednesday, we'll start certainly knowing more and more results of the presidential election and also local elections as well. But really, our coverage will go on throughout the week here at KSL News Radio as we begin to get ready for Election Day tomorrow.
Yeah, Election Day has been going on for 3 weeks, and we won't just know tomorrow. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll know by then, but likely we're going to have to wait a few days to really see what the I's dotted and the T's crossed tell us about this year's election. It's 9:06. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things that Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
In 30 minutes from now, we're going to be speaking with Desert News reporter Jennifer Graham about an article she wrote. It's been referred to, as the topic has, as political infidelity, keeping who you vote for secret from your significant other. Well, she's joining us because she wrote about a high-powered political couple who fall on totally different sides of the political spectrum and how they've made their marriage last. Today's discussion prompted in large part because of a new television ad reminding voters that who you vote for is private.
You can vote any way you want, and no one will ever know.
Did you make the right choice?
Sure did, honey. Remember, what happens in the booth stays in the booth.
Oh, I get a crack out of this. Listen, it's one thing if I keep my vote from you or from the masses. Keeping it from my spouse, that speaks to some real issues. If I have to keep my vote from my spouse, I can't imagine that going well. I don't see the benefits of that. So I think this is a very interesting conversation, and how we have described it: political infidelity.
Countdown. 2.
In the 10 o'clock hour, what is behind the downfall of some popular sit-down restaurants? I mean, TGI Fridays filing for bankruptcy on the heels of Red Lobster, whose top boss said it was mostly the endless shrimp deal that financially broke the iconic seafood chain. But Dave has a message for sinking restaurant chains. Maybe it's his dine-out habits that could be part of your pain.
I'm shooting myself in the foot on this one because I'm telling you, restaurants, you got to shrink the portions. The portions are so large, my wife and I can order one meal. We split it in half. I mean, I don't know, maybe 2/3. She gets a third, I get 2/3. But we share a meal, which brings the entire bill down. But your portions are big. But let's be honest, your prices are big too.
Launch. Countdown. 1.
It's the story that shocked Dave. And we said, well, we're going to talk about it out of the gates. If you're this passionate about it, we got to talk about it right away. The new magic age for first-time home buyers, 38 years old. What?
Wow.
A new report on home sales with a revelation for parents pressuring their 20-something kids to scoop up a home and do it quick. Stand down, Mom and Dad. It's the cost of homes and qualifying for one. Two major hurdles your kids can't clear until they're almost 40 years old.
At 38 years old, and I don't say this to brag, I think it's more for perspective, but I had been a homeowner for 13 years. I had built equity up 13 years. I had refied and cashed out several times. It was an important part of my finances and our finances. If I'm looking at it right now and telling my kids, hey, don't even look at buying a home until you're in your late 30s, what a shocker.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The Launch.
Commence.
Priced Out. Housing. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, if you think your kid's going to buy a home in their 20s, if you're looking at this new report, you need to stand down, Mom and Dad. Because the number that really stands out to me in this CNBC story, Dave, that really caught your eye this morning, is that new magic age for first-time home buyers. It is now at 38 years old. Let's get into the details.
I think what is so shocking about that, at 38 years old, think of where you are in life. At 38, I had 4 children. I was in my career. I was what I considered very advanced in my life and my career. To think that just at that point, when I'm trying to wrangle 4 children and school and the costs and the expenses, how do I then prioritize and save tens of thousands of dollars to be able to buy a house?
And you know what, that median age, as they call it, at 38 years old, Dave, has risen. It used to be 35 years old. But the problem behind this is, according to the CNBC story, is the price of homes. We know that the price of homes along the Wasatch Front is in the mid-5s. The average home is going to be in the mid-5s. Across the United States, that's now $435,000. So what does that median first-time home buyer age look like in Utah? If the median price for a home across the U.S. is in the 4s, but it's in the 5s in Utah. In a few minutes, we're going to find out if it's even older than 38 years old when we talk to a local real estate expert on, how old is it now for first-time home buyers in Utah?
And to your point, we've got 2 things working against us right now as home buyers. Number one, it's the cost of the home, as you had described. Over the last 4 years, home prices nationally have gone up 40%. Let that sink in. In just 4 years, it's leapt 40%. Now, you look at the double whammy of mortgage rates that have doubled during that time. It used to be in the 3s. Now we're in the 6s. It even went as high as the 7s. And that's with the good credit rating. You've got the cost of the home and the mortgage prices. And that tells you why you're almost 40 years old before you can buy your first home.
It's been a reality check for me.
I bet.
Yeah, I suppose that a lot of parents feel as I do.
Mm-hmm.
You want your child to get into their first home ASAP. This makes me realize it's unrealistic. It's just unrealistic. Like, they're just starting out in their careers, so their income is not at peak. Maybe their credit has been dinged. Maybe they have student loans. Maybe they have other debt. Maybe they have been in a rental situation that's costing them $1,600 a month, so they cannot amass a down payment. And if they're looking at a $500,000 home as their first-time home, it's going to be when they're in their mid-30s.
You want to know the worst piece of news that I saw when I was reading this? Now, this came out this morning. The National Association of Realtors, they released their State of the Market report, and that was just this morning. The worst piece of news, Debbie, is a quarter of these first-time home buyers are getting a gift or a loan from loved ones. So it's not just our kids that are struggling. Now our kids are having to ask us or their friends or somebody or a loved one or a grandparent for that loan to get into the home in the first place. And a quarter of people are doing it.
Yeah, they are. Because they want to see their kids get into a home, Dave.
And how does that affect our long-term finances? Because these down payments, if you're looking at 20% on a $500,000 home, that's $80,000.
Straight ahead, we're going to get a look at what the landscape is like here in Utah. What is happening in Utah? Real estate agent Russell Fawcett joining us with the best tips to buy your first home before the age of 38. Is it to ask mom and dad for a gift to get into their first home? He's up next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hi, Doug Wright here with one more little experiment you can do at home. In a pan of water, all you have to do is stir in limestone, calcium, magnesium particles, and then heat that whole mess up on the stove. And you know what, on second thought, not such a good idea, because limestone, calcium, and magnesium particles heated in water will clump and stick to your pan like concrete, which incidentally is exactly what's going on inside your water heater. Think about it, limestone, calcium, magnesium, that's what makes hard water hard. And trust me on this, if you live in northern Utah, your home has hard water. So call Connecticut of Utah. I'll give you the number in a moment. They'll test your water's hardness for free, and they'll show you the patented design features that make Connecticut water softeners work better than any other. Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer. To learn more, call Connecticut. It's 801-576-8600 or log on to softwaterutah.com. And call now while it's on your mind.
3 days of coverage.
They plan to add more workers and voting bays if things get too busy.
Generally, people are moving through pretty quickly.
3 days of analysis and breaking updates.
When it's done right, it's interesting, it's invigorating, and I love it.
Listen each time you jump in the car, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, here on KSL News Radio.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Let me tell you an amazing story. Last week, a customer came in. They were a creative director for an agency, and they were frustrated that their old, slow computer wasn't processing their files quick enough. He had a big project due and could not afford any delays. Well, we hooked him up with one of our new, powerful 2025 desktops for only $999, and he was able to complete his project with ease. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
Are you ready to upgrade your home with stunning new windows in time for the holidays, but overwhelmed on how to begin? Look no further than Peach Windows. You know at Peach, they're all about giving you options. Peach offers a wide selection of wood windows, sleek modern black metal frames, European tilt and turn windows, plus much, much more. Let Peach help you find the perfect match for your home. They can work with your budget and personal style. Visit their showroom in Salt Lake City, 2940 South 300 West. That's 2940 South 300 West, and see for yourself. No pushy sales tactics, only guidance from the experienced staff. No inflated markups, just offers so-called discounts. See their 5-star reviews where customers rate them on their attention to detail through every step of the sale and installation process. Amazing home transformations begin with windows and doors. Serving Logan to St. George, just Google Peach Building to see for yourself. That's Peach Doors and Windows. Find them online, peachbuildingproducts.com, peachbuildingproducts.com. It's Peach Doors and Windows.
Hello, this is Congresswoman Celeste Malloy. I'm running for re-election to represent you and keep Utah's conservative values in Washington, D.C. Like you, I'm tired of a government that spends too much, listens too little, and makes all of our lives harder. In Washington, I'm pushing back against bad ideas and liberal policies. Let me keep representing you so I can keep fighting for you, because we are just getting started. I'm Celeste Malloy, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Celeste for Congress.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
Attention Utah professionals. Join us at the Utah Business Forward event on November 20th, 2024 at the Grand America Hotel. Learn from successful Utah leaders, including Kurt Doman of Progressive Leasing and U of U women's basketball coach Lynn Roberts. Dive into breakout sessions on entrepreneurship, people and culture, acquisitions, AI, brand marketing, and strategic leadership. Don't miss this opportunity to connect and grow. Visit forward.utahbusiness.com to register today.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, today is Utah's postmark deadline for mail-in ballots. Ballots need to be marked by the post office by the end of the day to count. Second, a missing Cedar City man was found dead over the weekend after crashing his motorcycle. Police say he lost control of the bike. And third, the body of a missing 19-year-old woman was found near Farmington Canyon over the weekend. Police and volunteers searched for Mia Casto after she was last seen Friday leaving a stranger's home. Right now it's 37 degrees in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Priced out. Housing. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
A new national real estate report shows that since 2020, the price of homes across the nation has gone up 40%. Part of the reason why we're seeing the age increase for first-time home buyers, now at 38 years old on average across the country. 38 years old, because interest rates are as high as they are, home prices are as high as they are, and salaries aren't keeping up to the point where the younger generation, Dave, can save enough for that down payment.
And how much does this change your expectations? Because this number is a decade later than I thought it would be, quite honestly. I would think my kids would love to get into a home. I would think, in their mid to late 20s, kind of like we did. But to see the reality of what is happening right now, that you got to be 38 years old, this changes, I think, your entire outlook of home buying. To have to wait that long before you even get in a home, you're renting until you're 38, that is shocking.
Let's see if we can get some tips on how to get into your first home before you're 38 years old. Russell Fawcett, owner of the Stern team of Omada Real Estate. Hi, Russell.
How's it going?
Good. Good to talk to you again. What are we seeing in Utah? This is a national number, 38 years old. Can you drill down on Utah, give us a better idea of what's happening here?
Yeah, we're just like in a lot of the stats, we're a couple years probably ahead of that. And one of the things that I think that we're not talking about that actually drives that is people are waiting to get married. So if you want the first tip of, possibly what do you need to do to buy that first home, maybe consider getting married, because it's now over 30 for the average age when people are getting married. So I say that jokingly, but
Yeah.
Yes, that is one of the big factors delaying why people are waiting to buy that first house.
But I think your point is well taken. I think a lot of times when we look at homes, or maybe even our parents, they were able to buy a home on a single income. And it is just far more difficult right now to buy a home with a single income. You almost need that dual income to even qualify.
Yep. So some of the things that we're seeing people do, when they're buying a home, whether they're single or early on, would be what we call house hacking. So even in Salt Lake, they've approved it's a lot easier to do an ADU unit. So buying a home and then figuring out, can I rent the basement, or if I'm single, can I rent out some of the rooms to other people, but not waiting, for marriage to buy that first home to start gaining equity. The other thing that we talked about on one of your shows previously was, do you go in with a friend to buy a house earlier and start gaining that equity so that later on in life you can afford the down payment of a larger home.
We're speaking live with Russell Fawcett. He's the owner of the Stern team of Omada Real Estate about a new report that dropped this morning that really caught Dave's attention, that it's now 38 is the magic age to buy a first home, a home for the first time across the United States. Russell saying the age is a little bit younger here in Utah, but still that people are waiting to get married in order to be able to afford to get into their first home. Let's talk about this stat regarding gifting money. Maybe it's a rich uncle or it's mom and dad gifting money for a down payment. I know there are limits on gift amounts before, taxes come into play. But let's just talk generally, Russell, about gifting money and the advantages and disadvantages of that. And are you seeing that happening more and more in today's real estate market?
Yeah, we definitely are seeing gift funds being used. Typically, they're either coming from a parent or a grandparent. So as opposed to waiting until someone passes away to get the inheritance, they're getting some of that money up front. The biggest caveat with gift money is legally you're not supposed to require them to repay that money. So it does have to be a true gift. It can't be a, hey, I'm going to loan my brother money with the expectation of getting paid back. But that is definitely a way that people are getting into a home, being able to put the money down is through gift funds.
Just for clarity on that, if people are interested in doing that or asking mom and dad or grandma and grandpa, my experience with gifts like that to make sure that the mortgage company knows and if the IRS comes knocking is you just send a little note with the gift. It says no repayment is expected. This is a gift. Is that pretty accurate, Russell? I know we're not attorneys here, but I'm just saying generally, is that something that you suggest from your clients?
Correct. So the biggest thing is it'll have to be documented is the word that is there for the loan application, that they need to document that it's gift money.
Okay.
So just anytime you're getting a loan, if you have a large deposit in your bank account, they're going to ask, where did that money come from if it was outside of your normal, pay? And so this would be the same circumstance of just documenting, meeting that letter of explanation of where the money came from.
Okay.
Another thing that younger buyers are struggling with as we're looking through this National Association of Realtors report is that these younger buyers are competing with wealthier all-cash buyers, and that almost a quarter of all of the homes that were purchased were these all-cash buyers. How do you compete if you're a younger buyer if you do come up against and you get into a bidding war with an all-cash buyer?
Yeah, a lot of it really depends on, is there something else you can do to, maybe make it easier for the seller of maybe there's a lease back, or honestly, people are doing, when it got really crazy during COVID, we saw letters where, they talked about, their circumstance and tried to appeal to the seller. But at the end of the day, you may, if it's an all-cash buyer and the seller's just looking for a convenient close, first-time home buyers may miss out on that. Things that they can look at as well is possibly working with someone to find them homes that are off-market, where you're outwardly reaching out to homeowners trying to buy a home that's not on the market, or when they're shopping, looking at homes that have been on the market for 2-3 weeks, that you're no longer in that competitive bidding war on those homes.
And when you say off market, is that something where the real estate agent goes and knocks on a door and asks a homeowner, do you want to sell?
Yeah,
I got a client.
So, right. Whether it's knocking on doors, sending letters. We have a lot of people that are, if the right house came up, they would be willing to sell theirs, or, if the right offer came in, they would be willing to sell, because a lot of people are, with their low interest rate, they're just not as motivated. But in the right circumstance, they would actually go ahead and sell their home and move. And so really finding and digging down people that may be in that situation.
Russell Fawcett, thanks for joining us from the Stern team.
Yeah, great information and how to maybe work away. What did he say a hack? Hack your way into getting your first time home and doing things that are, you just get creative.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a gift from mom and dad or from grandma and grandpa. Maybe it's asking a real estate agent to go knock on a door of a home that you might be interested in that's not on the market. 38 years old. Now the median age across the country for a first-time home buyer to get into that first-time home that they own. Straight ahead, can couples stay together and be happy even if they're politically divided? A TV ad reminding voters who they cast their ballot for is private.
You can vote any way you want. And no one will ever know.
Let's get Jennifer Graham on the line next. She's the Deseret News' ideas and cultural editor. She's going to talk to us about staying together in a political divide.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's Top Story Rivalry Week is back for the first time in 3 years. We're now just days away from BYU and Utah football's first matchup since 2021. BYU head coach Kalani Sitake says they've missed playing the big game the last few years.
This truly is a cool reunion, and I don't know what the result of the game is going to be, but I think the level of respect and admiration should be from both sides.
BYU is looking to stay undefeated and on top of the Big 12 standings, while Utah looks to play spoiler and end a 4-game losing streak. Kickoff from Rice-Eccles Stadium is at 8:15 Saturday night. The Utah Hockey Club gave it their all but fell to Vegas in overtime 4-3 on Saturday. Utah's lost 5 of their last 6 games. They'll be in Winnipeg tomorrow night to take on the Jets and have the best record in the NHL. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Florida police are investigating a series of incidents during this weekend's Florida-Georgia college football game, where fans caught other fans being beaten by officers on camera. ABC's Will Reeve reports.
Multiple videos show a struggle in the fourth quarter between 3 officers and at least 2 fans. Then 2 officers appear to start punching the fans. Jacksonville's mayor saying, "I'm aware of several disturbing videos circulating. The incidents are under investigation."
One fan said he recorded an argument that turned violent over a seat mix-up. Your money at this moment, the S&P down just 5 points now. Let's see, the Dow is down 236. We're at 41,816. And coming up, it'll be cool today but sunny. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
Right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
One of the things I love about Mountain Home Services is they've joined forces with
Master Electrical.
I'm sorry. Now it's all in my head. It's just Mountain Home Services, Mountain Home Services. They've joined. So now you've got the expertise of both the electrical side of things as well as the plumbing and the heating in there.
Yeah, Master Electrical is known for its great electrical service to your home since 1954. Now installing EV chargers, you do recessed lighting. Now that they've joined with Mountain Home Services, they can also help you with your HVAC and
fireplaces. And you love fireplaces, especially as it has become quite chilly outside. If you want to get that fireplace into your home, make sure you reach out to Mountain Home Services. They can help you choose just the right size for your place, the ambiance that you want, and the heat that you want produced.
And it all comes with that upfront pricing guarantee that Dave and I have been talking about for several months now. It means no hidden fees. The price they quote you up front is the price you pay when the job is done.
Yeah, check out Mountain Home Services by going to their website, mountainhomeutah.com. That's mountainhomeutah.com.
Or give them a call, 801-543-2222. Again, 801-543-2222.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want to tell you about our famous "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. That's right, it's a warranty you don't need, but we give it to you anyway. Let me explain. Most warranty problems for siding, gutters, and windows are caused by not installing stuff right in the first place. If you rush the work, cut corners, or use subpar materials, you're just begging for problems later. At RGS Exteriors, we don't tolerate careless workmanship. We slow down, focus on every detail, and use only the best materials. We prevent warranty work by doing the job right in the first place. That's why the 10-year everything guarantee we give you is also known as our "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. We absolutely will be there if you need to use it. But honestly, you probably will never have to. Done right the first time. That's the RGS way. For siding, gutters, and windows, call 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriors.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, looks like most of our crashes have cleared along the Wasatch Front. No delays now southbound I-15 in Utah County, moving between American Fork and Pleasant Grove. The crash that was on the exit ramp from I-215 northbound to get onto Foothill Drive, that looks like it's been moved over to the right shoulder, so it's no longer blocking lanes of travel. And right now, everyone is traveling at freeway speeds anywhere you want to go. Revere Health encourages you to schedule your preventative care and annual checkups to help increase the potential to lead your most healthy and active life. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner in life. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be a change from the stormy weekend weather. Highs will be in the mid-40s with sunny skies. Right now, though, it's 38 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Keeping your relationship, whether that's a marital relationship or a friend's relationship, strong when you're split right down the middle by politics. And Jennifer Graham of the Deseret News joining us in just a few minutes. She did a really great job walking through how one couple who's well known in political circles, both strategists, one on the left, the other on the right, how they've made their marriage have staying power despite their political views being on different sides of the aisle.
It's the same way, I think, if my wife were a Lakers fan. I'm a Jazz fan. I have a little contention, but the stakes are low when it comes to sporting events. So oftentimes we're just like, that's fine. My wife, likes this team. I like that team. But for some reason, when we talk about politics, now all of a sudden everything's heightened. And now we care. And now we let that divide us. It's absurd to me as if I were to consider my wife cheering for the Lakers as sports infidelity. Like, this would be terrible. I could never marry a Lakers fan. That's ludicrous to me. But we're seeing time and time again, poll after poll, where people are ending relationships because they don't agree with each other politically.
Well, part of the reason we're talking about this is because there is a relatively new ad that's been released about your vote and who you voted for being private information. And this is an ad for the Harris-Walz campaign.
You can vote any way you want. And no one will ever know.
Did you make the right choice?
Sure did, honey.
Remember, what happens in the booth stays in the booth.
Jennifer Graham joins us right now from the Deseret News, ideas and culture editor there. Jennifer, thank you. I think it was very interesting when I first saw that ad. It seems like you and I both had kind of some similar hesitations by seeing it and watching it. What were some of your takeaways?
The Harris-Walz campaign has had some great ads, but this one was not one of them. I just found it so cringy, not only in the way that they presented the non-Harris people who were kind of, redneck kind of buffoons, but just the whole idea that it would be a positive thing to encourage somebody to deceive their significant other. I just found that whole premise kind of disturbing.
Well, and I suppose we can't be in the middle of everybody's relationship, so we don't know what is going on internally in some families and what would set one spouse off against the other. And so maybe there's some of that as well that we just aren't familiar with. But I want you to talk about James Carville and Mary Madeline. And these are two political strategists. One is on the right, one is on the left, and they've been married for years. And despite their political differences, they've made it work. And what did you find in your research about how they've been able to make it work and stay transparent, I think, importantly, about who they're voting for, Jennifer?
Yeah, I mean, they are such an interesting couple, and I was reminded of them because a couple of weeks ago I watched a new documentary that just came out about James Carville, and in it they had interviewed both of them. It was mostly about politics, but at times they talked about their relationship, and they have been married for 33 years. And they have been in the spotlight because of their political differences since they started dating. I mean, it was a big deal when they started dating. And so there were lots of articles written about them. They wound up writing a book about what it was like for one to be on the GOP and the other to be a famous Democratic strategist. But I don't think many people thought their marriage was going to last. I mean, I'm not sure they did at one point because they went through a lot of stress, particularly when he went to work for Bill Clinton. She went to work for Dick Cheney. And it sounds like from what they said in this documentary that there was some real pain involved that they were inflicting on each other. And you look at that and you go, how are they possibly still married after 33 years? But, they have made some decisions that I think the rest of us should think about, which is they just decided that politics was not going to be part of their relationship. They really don't talk about it. And that's kind of astonishing since politics was their profession, still is their profession.
It really is a fascinating and I think insightful look into a relationship because it's one thing, I think, Jennifer, to keep your vote private from the public, right? But I think sometimes we're blurring the lines of, keeping it from the general public and then keeping it from your significant other, your spouse, the person that you are closest with. I guess bleeding those two lines together is the eyebrow raise for me.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, there's been some discussion over the past year about the number of young people who say that they just will not even consider dating somebody of another political party, which, we can discuss, whether or not that's a healthy thing or not. One of the things that James Carville says in this documentary, he notes that there are tens of millions of people in the United States. That's a made-up number, obviously. But he's trying to get at vast numbers of people don't even know anybody or interact with people from the other party. So, I mean, this is a whole other conversation about what this is like when we're putting ourselves into silos like this. And there's a real discussion to be had about whether or not you are really close to somebody if you don't share the same values. I mean, that's an issue at play here. But to me, I find it just very encouraging that these people have such a strong family life and clearly are madly in love with each other after all this time. And I see why after watching James Carville for an hour and a half. I mean, he's a pretty phenomenal person, but
Jennifer,
anyway, there's lessons for us there.
Yeah, and I think one of the best lessons comes toward the end of your article. And by the way, you can read Jennifer's full article, and it is definitely worth the read at Deseret.com. When Mary Madeline, who is a conservative strategist, and her husband James, who has worked on Democratic campaigns for Democrats, she says, we have pretty vigorous and active lives. And she said this a while ago. We like to fish. We like to cook. We like history. We like church. Talking about the impact of the minimum wage is just not something that is high on our list of fun things to do. And I loved how she said that and that you captured that in the article, because that really gets you in the center of their relationship and how they have been able to make it work despite of their political views being totally different.
Yeah, and I've had that play out in my own life. I mean, I mentioned in this article, my best friend of nearly 40 years is vastly different from me politically, but every fall we go off for a week together and we have the best time. We're not fishing, but we're also not talking about the minimum wage. And so, my own situation, this has proved to be the case. You've got to have other things to talk about. You've got to have other things to do. And we all need that this week, right?
Yes.
We need some other things to do.
Well, these are the things that we can control in our lives, that we can enjoy in our lives, getting out and fishing or going to dinner with friends and not having these political conversations and enjoying people for who they are, not where their voter registration sits. Jennifer, thank you so much. Great article. It's at Deseret.com. Jennifer Graham, the Ideas and Cultural Editor of the Deseret News.
Yeah, if you want to read that, it's called James Carville, Mary Madeline, Good Examples for All of Us.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Hi, my name is Kendon Holdaway, and I work for the National Kidney Foundation of Utah and Idaho. Before that, I worked as a dialysis technician at the largest dialysis center in Utah. And before that, I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease at age 14. However, I am one of the lucky ones. I have an amazing mother who gave me a second chance. She donated her kidney to me, and it changed my life. Thanks to her and a scholarship from the Kidney Foundation, I was able to graduate college, get married, and apply to medical school in hopes of becoming a doctor. Sadly, there are many who are not as lucky as I am. Every car you donate to towcars.org gives hope and help to 3,000 patients like me, many of whom are still waiting for their miracle. Towing is free and donations are tax deductible. Keep donations local by donating online at towkars.org. That's towcars with a K, like kidney.
As we walk you up to Election Day here at KSL News Radio, you can expect full coverage throughout the day today and tomorrow about getting your ballots in, what the deadlines are, when the polls open tomorrow morning for Election Day, when they close, and then, of course, our staff of reporters and producers covering the results as they roll in, starting at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, because remember, polls will start closing on the East Coast. So you can count on Jeff Kaplan and his team of political analysts in the afternoon for your drive home when the first numbers start to drop on the presidential election.
In 2024, dating is a disaster. We've been ghosted, breadcrumbed, stuck in situationships. Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm Caitlin. Welcome to our new podcast, Dating at Her Age.
Dating has been so dicey for us, we asked KSL, can we launch an all-new podcast about it?
People use these dating apps. You're not really dating when you're on the dating app.
Dating at Her Age, brought to you by Mountain Home Services. A new episode drops every Thursday on KSLNewsRadio.com.
To all you tool people out there, has Harbor Freight got a deal for you? Big savings every single day this November. Because we know that right now, when the price of everything only seems to go up, you need a place where prices stay low. So shop in-store or online for quality tools you can trust at prices you'll love every day. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com
I'm ready!
and get ready for the workday.
Stay warm and worry-free this winter with Gillette Services. Call 385-GET-HEAT now.
A Carrier factory authorized dealer.
Hi, I'm Nate Orchard, the mayor of Sac Lake City with Advanced Window Products.
And I'm Jake, the other guy. Are you aware of the latest technology in replacement windows?
Upgrade to affordable, energy-efficient windows and save on your utility bills.
Right now, get $2,500 off when you purchase 10 windows or more.
That's $2,500 in savings.
Call us today at 801-850-9100 or visit advancedwindows.com.
Advanced Window Products, Utah's window experts.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, with avian flu in chickens and cows in Cache County, concern has turned to turkeys in central Utah. So far, the flocks are safe. Second, as of this morning, 46.2% of ballots have been returned in Utah. The lieutenant governor says over 659,000 of those were through the mail, and over 23,000 were returned in person. Third, nearly a dozen people are being treated for injuries after tornadoes took out homes and wiped out power near Oklahoma City. Right now, it's 38 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, let's talk about the video that I saw all over social media this weekend, and that is a former football star, now retired, and now he's an analyst for the NFL. Jason Kelce, walking in by a group of fans at a Penn State game, and one fan apparently directs a homophobic slur at his brother Travis, and it has to do with his brother Travis dating Taylor Swift. Let's work off this CBS Sports article, Dave, about it. But did you see the video?
Yes, absolutely. You couldn't miss it. It was all over the place because this is a famous person, and he understands. He's been an NFL football player. You know, he's a Hall of Fame caliber football player. He was one of the most popular players on the entire Philadelphia Eagles team. So he has had a lot of interactions, especially playing in Philadelphia, where the fans have a very quite the reputation of being very harsh. But this crossed the line for him, and he confronted directly the fan.
So why don't you set up for our listeners, since you have a long, storied career in sports, what you were seeing as Jason Kelce is walking by this group of fans? Do they appear to be, younger 20-something-year-old fans?
Yeah, it's college
okay.
kids. They're at a college football game. It's the biggest college football game of the week. It was the Nittany Lions, that's Penn State, and then Ohio State Buckeyes. So that's the number 3 team, the number 4 team playing. So this is a very energized, excited group. This is College Game Day is there, and Jason Kelce is there in part to provide some analysis of the college football games. So anyway, he's walking, and you've got an entourage. People are just surrounding him. Everyone's got their phones out there recording him. And then you hear somebody that's recording is like, hey, man, can I get a fist bump? Can I get a fist bump? Can I get a fist bump? Kind of badgering him. And then another person says this, shouts it out to Travis. Hey, Kelce, how does it feel that your brother is a homophobic slur for dating Taylor Swift? And once he heard that, that's where Jason Kelce kind of spins around, grabs the fan's phone, and then smashes it into the ground.
Obviously, we beeped that part where there was a homophobic slur, but he does turn around. I saw that, take the phone out of an individual's hand, and then slams it to the ground. Let's camp on that for just a moment, because I feel when I saw that video, my feeling and my opinion is that online, people go online and they say whatever they want to say. You know, they thrust. They can be bullies. They can say horrible things about anybody online when they're safely seated behind a cell phone in their own home or whatever on their laptop. But in person, when you cross that line for somebody and you get in their face or you say something about their beloved brother or sister or whoever it is, that's when things turn around and somebody can really get a taste of the other person's feelings, the other person who is being verbally attacked with any kind of comment, or in this case, what's being called a homophobic slur. And I'm wondering if people who sit behind their computers all day and tweet at other people or send messages over Facebook don't realize that there is a limit to that. And you may be okay in the privacy of your own home or your office doing that, but you get out in public and do that to somebody as big and strong as Travis Kelce, and he is obviously... Jason Kelce, and he's obviously very protective of his brother and the fact that his brother has been in this relationship with Taylor Swift. It seems to be going well. His brother on many levels has been a role model for how men should treat women, according to my friends that I hang out with. So, that was my take, is like you're safe when you're online, but you get out there in person and then you cross a line.
There's no question that some of that is happening. I think this is even worse in the sense, I think this is people purposely trying to bait people into a reaction. I think they're going in, using that kind of language, trying to create some sort of altercation for a couple of different reasons. Either to go viral, build your own brand. Hey, did you see me? I was the one that got Jason Kelce to punch me in the face. You're baiting these players, and this has been happening for a very, very long time. I can't help but remember back in the 90s, 1997, I think it was, Charles Barkley had a similar interaction with a fan that goes up, throws some water in his face. Charles Barkley grabs him and throws him through a plate glass window. So this has been happening where these players get baited. They're sitting there, they're minding their business, they're not doing anything, and somebody comes to pick a fight with them. And when that happens, they know these guys are millionaires. Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce, they have a podcast that was just picked up for $100 million. Wow. He will make more money on his podcast than he did as a Hall of Fame player in the NFL. So it's not just that this guy was a football player. He's got money. He's got fame. People know him. And I think we're seeing more and more of these folks that are confronting people, looking for a payday. I don't know if that's this case, but I do know a lot of athletes that have been confronted. They get baited, and then they have to settle out of court because they do have the money to settle out of court and not drag this through, a court.
Do you think there's anything to what I said?
No question. Yes, no question.
You feel safe behind a computer or behind your cell phone, but you get out in public and you actually have to meet that person face to face, and then you lob a slur or something extremely negative, disparaging at that person, and they've just had enough.
There's a lot of keyboard warriors out there. But I think we're seeing it also with the athletes, and we're seeing it with politicians as well. You'll remember not too long ago, it was Mitt Romney that was just walking through the airport, and he is being berated and confronted by somebody that didn't like one of his policies, the way he voted, the way he impeached Trump, whatever it may have been. They were berating him and confronting him and accosting him, and we are far too comfortable making what I think is an aggressive interaction with these folks that are just trying to live their life largely, right? Jason Kelce is just walking. He's being surrounded. That's part of the price of fame. But then when people start calling you horrible, terrible things, calling out your family, it's hard not to react.
I still wish he wouldn't have done that, though.
Well, and he also used the same homophobic slur after the guy confronted him. So he turns to him and he's like, who's the homophobic slur now?
We'll continue to watch for any developments on that story. Straight ahead, what's behind the downfall of some sit-down restaurants? Dave thinks it could be partly due to his habits when it comes to dining out. What?
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour, 6 people behind bars after a massive bar fight in Salt Lake City over the weekend. This happened just after midnight on Saturday at 17th South and Main Street. Investigators say as many as 40 people were involved and 2 officers hurt during the fight. The 6 people arrested now facing multiple charges. A set of grain elevators in Ogden right now is nothing but rubble. The old Farmers Grain Cooperative elevators went down in a controlled explosion so that land can be redeveloped. Took 2 blasts to bring down the 185-foot-tall structures. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Arizona seen as a critical swing state in the presidential election, but there's also a controversial ballot issue being decided. More from ABC's Elizabeth Schultze.
Arizona is one of 10 states with the ballot initiative to expand abortion rights. The proposition here would enshrine the right to an abortion in Arizona's constitution, and organizers tell us they are optimistic that it will pass with bipartisan support.
North Carolina, Michigan, and Pennsylvania also have abortion rights on the ballot. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down on the day right now, 378 points. The NASDAQ is down 54. And our KSL weather, there's a chance of rain tomorrow on Election Day. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Utah, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Because now at Staples, you can save up to $50 on your print purchase. From posters and flyers to signs and menus, Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. And with Staples Print Perfect Guarantee, it's done right or it's printed again free. Plus, same-day service is available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. Get it printed right at Staples. And now get up to $50 off your print purchase. N76, visit staples.com/print for details. If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Because now at Staples, you can save up to $50 on your print purchase. From posters and flyers to signs and menus, Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. And with Staples Print Perfect Guarantee, it's done right or it's printed again free. Plus, same-day service is available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. Get it printed right at Staples. And now get up to $50 off your print purchase. N76, visit staples.com/print for details.
I'm Dave Cawley, investigative journalist and host of the podcast Cold. Don't miss Cold's new Season 3, where I look into the unsolved disappearance of Cherie Warren, a woman last seen leaving her job at a Salt Lake City office in 1985. Police cast suspicion on Cherie's estranged husband and boyfriend, but never made any arrests or recovered Cherie's remains. Find Cold Season 3, The Search for Cherie, anywhere you get your podcasts.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
We've got some pretty slow traffic right now, northbound I-15 as you leave the I-215 North Interchange area in Murray and head up toward 5300 South. Looks like there's either a crash or UHP pulled somebody over right at 5300 South. They're over on the right shoulder, but the delays are stretching back again into almost into Midvale now. And you're going to see a bit of slowing on Legacy Parkway. That is northbound between Bountiful and Centerville. That's due to road construction, but most everybody else is moving along quite nicely. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy, 47 today, 45 with a chance of rain tomorrow. And right now, 39 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Dave and I taking a look inside what's behind the downfall of some of our longtime favorite sit-down restaurants. TGI Fridays, the latest to file for bankruptcy, saw the story on kslnewsradio.com, as sit-down restaurants continue to struggle. What do you think it is?
I'm to blame, number one. I hate to say that because I love sit-down restaurants, and I feel like I life-hacked eating out. And this was an aha moment for my wife and I. We went to a, what do you call it, a fast casual burger place?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not McDonald's, but it's a burger place. It's burger and fries and a drink. That's it. We go through there. It costs us $22 for one hamburger, one French fry, and one drink. $22. So what we started doing is saying we could do a sit-down restaurant for $22, and we'll share a meal, which is exactly what we did.
The old split the meal trick.
Now, portions are so large anymore that you can easily split a meal, cut the hamburger in half, split the fries, get a couple of drinks, and it was as affordable to do a sit-down restaurant as it was to go to the fast food burger joint.
Do you intentionally pick restaurants that tend to lean toward that massive platter of food?
Yeah.
So you
For
can
sure.
split it and not walk away and like, oh, I'm still hungry.
Yeah, it's exactly what we do.
Oh, okay. So
we
you
choose the
strategize.
place that can where one meal can feed two, and we're walking out of there with a tip at $25, just a couple dollars more than what the fast food costs us now.
So I want to talk about TGI Fridays. We used to have a couple locations here. We looked. I think we found the closest location is about a 6-hour drive. But let us know on our text line 57500 if you happen to drive by a TGI Fridays somewhere in Utah. We think the closest one might be Las Vegas at this point. But I remember celebrating one of my birthdays at TGI Fridays as an adult. Yes, they did a great job humiliating me and singing happy birthday in front of everybody, and it was a packed house. Every seat was taken. Super popular restaurant. I think it started in New York. I want to say Manhattan. Many, many decades ago, spread across the country. Well, now announcing that they've filed for bankruptcy, and it sounds like they're going to reorganize. Probably one of the most famous moments for TGI Fridays. We're also going to talk about Red Lobster, and in just a few minutes, changes that are happening at Denny's as well. But as for TGI Fridays,
why didn't you just tell me it was a rum and coke? Could I have what I ordered? A white wine.
Training Tom Cruise on how to be a bartender for the 1988 movie Cocktail.
Dirty mother! Can I have what I ordered?
And this is where they did all the fancy spinning the bottles and the glasses and throwing it behind your back, and it was an entire production. It was very cool. But now, like you said, I can't even find one now.
So they're facing some challenges, and this is sit-down chain restaurants in general. It's what you kind of just mentioned, is people that are choosing to get food delivered to their home from more like fast food chains, or maybe the more upscale fast food chains like Chipotle, like Shake Shack. And they're not the only ones that are finding themselves, facing a downfall because of the uptick in these fast casual restaurants.
Yeah, and one of the things that is difficult about this is when you look at the fast casual restaurants, or even fast food in general, how much more expensive it is to buy a hamburger, right? If you want to get a Big Mac, or if you want to go to Chipotle, get a burrito, the prices are just about on par with sit-down restaurants, because sit-down restaurants have not done the same kind of boom and boost in prices, because then all of a sudden, had they kept pace with the fast food, you'd be spending $25 for a burger. And they realize nobody's paying $25 for a burger.
Now on to Red Lobster. Have you eaten there?
Oh, yeah.
I used to eat there with the kids.
Love the cheddar biscuits.
Yes, and you can buy those in the store, in the bakery, like in the baked goods sections. They sell that in a box.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can go buy those in the store. You don't have to go to the I'm not trying. Oh, I'm sorry, Red Lobster.
And now you wonder why Red Lobster is out of business.
Another life hack. Actually, I saw them the other day in a bigger box at Costco, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was at Costco the other day. And those cheddar biscuits are delicious. And they also come you have to hunt around a little bit sometimes in a gluten-free version, which is a big hit at my home. Yeah. So what happened at Red Lobster? They also filed for bankruptcy earlier this year. Dave and I talking about the downfall, what is behind the downfall in sit-down restaurants. And it sounds as though they're going to reorganize as well. But it was according to like the top person at Red Lobster, the CEO, he said it was the $20 endless shrimp deal.
Oh, man.
That was the main suspect in the chain's bankruptcy filing, the $20 endless shrimp deal. They'd been doing it since the early noughts in 2004, it sounds like. Hit and miss. It was limited time offers for the endless shrimp. And then it became a permanent menu item in 2023. And he said, and I'm quoting, "You stress out the kitchen, you stress out the servers, you stress out the host. People can't get a table. It creates a lot of chaos operationally." So trying to do a good thing for customers, the $20 endless shrimp deal, which people were posting about online. I think somebody said they ate 108 shrimp or something like that. I don't know.
You can blame me for that as well.
Really? Did you go there for that?
I can sit down for hours with endless shrimp. In fact, what a lot of all-you-can-eat places have decided to do, we'll call it the Dave Noriega rule, where they say, all you can eat for an hour, or all you can eat for an hour and a half, and then they got to turn the table over, because I will sit there and peel shrimp. It doesn't even hit my stomach. It's bottomless. There's no amount of shrimp that will ever fill me up. It doesn't matter how many pounds you stuff down my gullet. I will never get full.
I really want to talk about Denny's, because I've wound up at Denny's many times over the years. Usually in the middle of the night. You know how that goes, right? It's like, what's open? Denny's, 24/7. Let's go. On a grand slam with pancakes and bacon, right?
I love it.
I love it. So Denny's, it's not bankruptcy for them, but they're downsizing. They're going to be closing a lot of stores across the country, and they're the underperforming stores. And they've made a point. They said, times have changed, neighborhoods have changed. Some of the Denny's that they opened up many, many years ago just aren't as busy as they used to be. But the Associated Press, I thought, did a great job kind of breaking down a case study in Denny's and what's happening there. And I wanted to bounce some of these off of you. That restaurant inflation is outpacing grocery price inflation, which makes it a lot harder for customers to pay for and justify eating out. That's according to Denny's. So what was happening that they were finding as they were tracking menu items that were being purchased is that more and more adults, in order to make their meals more affordable, were ordering off the kids' menu, right, which costs less. I do this.
Portions are smaller.
Yeah, I'm guilty of this at McDonald's. I'm a Happy Meal gal at McDonald's, even if I'm alone in the car, right? You can just keep the toy. I just want the Happy Meal because the price is right. And then they're also seeing the Chipotles and the other fast casual chains kind of, people going there in place of going to Denny's. But here's one of the things they're doing at Denny's to compensate for that. They're not going to require some of their franchise owners, franchisees, to reopen to the 24/7 model. So, bummer for me, right? I go to Denny's on Black Friday. Like, I get out there early, and I go to Denny's and get my stack of pancakes, get my carbs. I carb load. So I can go.
The only carbs for your year.
I can low crawl and stomach crunch my way through the aisles to get to that
You don't have to show up to Black Friday anymore, Deb.
To get the
Just
door,
do it online.
The door crasher special, whatever they call it, doorbuster. Sorry. So they're not going to, as many restaurants aren't going to be as 24/7 as they used to be. And they're also slicing the menu. They're going to whittle it down to 46 options from, get this, they had 97 options on their menu.
They're like the Cheesecake Factory of pancakes. Like, how many different ways can you serve pancakes, eggs, and bacon? No. This one has bacon, pancakes, and eggs as opposed to pancake, eggs, and bacon.
So they must be including, like, all of the Denver omelet, the cheese omelet, the only egg omelet.
The Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity. The moon's over my hammy.
All of that. But as you see more and more restaurant chains either filing for bankruptcy or downsizing their locations, now you know what is going on with sit-down restaurants.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
Food brings people together, but many families don't know where their next meal is coming from. In Utah, 317,000 people, many of whom are children, are struggling with food insecurity. And Macy's is continuing the tradition of bringing hope to families in need. You can help provide hope by donating to Macy's Harvest of Hope Drive, now through November 30th. All donations will be donated to a local food bank to serve families in our communities. Purchase an icon for any amount or a prepackaged bag of food with items that food pantries need most at any Macy's store or online at Macys.com. Look for items tagged with the Harvest of Hope icon throughout the store. A portion of sales from those items will also be donated to local food pantries. Together, we can make a difference in our communities and provide hope to families and children facing food insecurity. Visit Macys.com or your local Macy's grocery store to learn more.
Tomorrow,
we have allocated some additional resources, some more voting booths.
No matter where you have to be or go, stay updated on the races that matter most to you. From county to county and coast to coast, we have you covered all day Election Day. In your car at 102.7 FM or ask Alexa, play KSL News Radio.
Bill Riley here with University of Utah head football coach Kyle Whittingham. Now tell me, Coach Whitt, what's your philosophy on a winning team?
I believe the key to winning is a strong offensive line. When the linemen do their job, nothing gets through to the quarterback, so he can do his job.
Well, what happens if the linemen don't do their job?
Ouch. You know, Bill, I recently learned that kidneys work like linemen for your body. When your kidneys work, they block poisons and chemicals from your blood.
Coach, I've heard that 1 in 9 Americans have some form of kidney disease. What can we do to fight back?
Join me, Coach Kyle Whittingham, and be part of the winning team against kidney disease. Donate your used car or truck to the Kidney Foundation. Your car will be towed for free, and you'll get a receipt for a tax deduction. Tell them how to do that, Bill.
Donate your car to the Kidney Foundation today and make your car a kidney car. Cars to save lives. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS. That's tow cars. Cars with a K. 1-800-TOW-CAR.
Every year, the National Kidney Foundation helps individuals and families affected by kidney disease. Help them out by making your car a kidney car. Call 1-800-TOW-CARS.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body?
Huh?
That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my superhydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think.
All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Jeff Kaplan. When you're online, that's sometimes a source of fourth-hand information. Somebody does the reporting. Another website Googles, they find it, they rewrite it, and by the time you read it, you know the old game telephone. But KSL is a source of primary information. We have reporters on the street. They're out in the field finding out the details. And the difference between online and KSL News Radio, night and day.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, 6 people were arrested, a couple of police officers injured in a big fight outside a bar in Salt Lake over the weekend. Second, several of the presidential battleground states also have ballot issues on abortion in this election. And third, even if you haven't registered to vote already, you can do it at the polling place on Election Day. 39 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Instead of going on a fun-filled, wall-to-wall, the agenda never ends vacation, would you trade that in, Dave, for what we're going to talk about right now, a nap-filled getaway? Another way of putting this is a sleepcation, where you don't do any of that, and instead you do a ton of snoozing.
I love sleeping on a vacation. I think there's two kinds of vacationers. They're the vacationers that basically want a shot of adrenaline in the morning and then go until they collapse in abject exhaustion. And then there's others like me. They're like, let's just kind of wake up when we wake up and do what we can get done. And, when we're done for the day, let's just be done. And we love to vacation that way. But a sleepcation, like a real focused, we're going to go, we're going to catch up, we're going to decompress, is something that most people don't even consider because I think a lot of people look at it as a waste of time.
We're going to talk about the rise in sleep vacations, where you actually get away to sleep the week away. I would use it as a way to catch up on my lack of sleep. Unfortunately, I would be afraid unless I went to a hotel that was specifically crafted for catering to naps and a good night's sleep. I would be the one that was situated with a room right next to the elevator, and the little kids, the little 4-year-olds fighting over who gets to push the elevator button at midnight, which seems to be where I end up in almost every hotel. It's like the previous hotel I stayed at calls ahead and said she's going to be there. Make sure she's on the 8th floor, right next to the noisy elevator. There's a lot of articles written about sleep vacations. I was unfamiliar with the term until I saw a social media post about it this weekend, and I said, who's better to talk about this and see what he thinks about this than my best friend in the newsroom, Dave Noriega. So what do you think about, or how would you use a sleep vacation? And I want to let our listeners know in just a few minutes, we're going to get into some hotels that are actually catering to sleep vacations.
You're right, because a lot of times it's the luck of the draw. Maybe you do get the noisy neighbors or the kids that are playing next to the elevator, right? But years ago, I did a story when I was over at Channel 4 with Chris Jones. We were talking about sleep deprivation and how many of us are sleep deprived. We're basically all sleep deprived.
Okay.
And the argument for a sleep vacation is this. You don't know how much sleep that you need. I'm speaking to everybody. Now, what do you hear? You got to get 8 hours of sleep.
Right.
So up at the University of Utah, we interviewed somebody, and they said, every person is different. He said, I have 6-hour-a-night sleepers, I have 8-hour sleepers, and then I have 10 or 12-hour sleepers. I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, literally, the way their body works is they function best when they have 12 hours of sleep. or 10 hours of sleep. Now, all the 12-hour sleepers, he said, wish they were 6-hour-a-day sleepers because they feel like they're just wasting the day away, but they will be more productive getting 12 hours of sleep and then being fully rested all day long than if they were trying to run exhausted on 6 hours of sleep. So he said the way you figure this out is you have to go on a sleep vacation. This is how he described it. This is how the doctor described it. He said you go on vacation, you go to sleep when you want to go to sleep, you wake up when you want to wake up. No alarms, nothing planned. You just sleep every time you feel like you want to nap. You just sleep, 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 sleep. After about a week or 10 days, your body is fully rested. And then he said after 10 days, then you start paying attention. What time do I go to sleep? And when do I naturally wake up?
Time out. 10 days.
10 days.
Okay.
Can you imagine that?
So getting away for 10 days from your everyday life.
Yeah, 7 to 10 days.
To take a vacation that is dedicated to sleeping.
Yes.
And then you would use it. So go on. I just wanted to stop
so
there.
this he said changes your life forever.
Okay.
Because what you will find out is after those 7 to 10 days, when you go to sleep, when you want to go to sleep and you just naturally wake up, you count how many hours you slept. Maybe it's 6, maybe it's 8, maybe it's 10. But once you have that number, you know how much sleep you need in a day. So let's say you're a 10-hour sleeper, something you definitely are not. But let's just say you're a 10-hour sleeper, but you only get 8 hours a night. Mm-hmm. Then you are 2 hours sleep deprived.
Every night.
Every single night. So you're working at a diminished capacity. Whereas his argument and he says that the research shows that you would be better off and more productive if you just got those 10 hours of sleep that you need.
Yeah, if I was a 10-hour night sleeper and on average I'm sleeping 5 hours a night, I'm a billion hours behind in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So this is sleep. Now, so you would use a sleep vacation to completely overhaul your life and your sleeping habits.
Exactly.
Oh, and see, how I would use it is just to catch up.
Yeah.
I would use it just to get away from everything and just catch up on and see if I could feel better by the time I get back to work. Because if you go on a fun-filled vacation, whether you're, hiking the Grand Canyon and then driving over to Disneyland and then trying to take in an Angels game and then, and on and seeing family and then hitting the beach, you come back from those fun-filled vacations completely wiped out as though you need a vacation.
You need a vacation from your vacation.
You would dedicate a 10-day sleep vacation to figuring out kind of where you were at with your body clock and your sleep clock.
Yeah, the problem with just using the sleep vacation as a one-time getaway is it's almost like running up your credit card, tens of thousands of dollars of your credit card, paying it off, and then going right back to your bad habits. The benefit of the sleep vacation is now you have a better understanding of how many hours of sleep you need every single night.
Yeah, so you're solving an ongoing problem.
Right, because how much guilt do we carry with ourselves if you sleep in a couple of hours? You're like, oh, I got 10 hours of sleep. What a waste of the day. I'm so lazy. And then we just kind of beat ourselves up. Whereas if you realize, oh, you know what? 10 hours is how many hours I need. And then I feel fantastic the rest of the day. I'm not trying to take a nap. I'm more engaged. I will say when I am fully rested, I'm a much better father. I'm a much better husband. I'm a better co-host because I'm not so snippy. I'm better all the way across when I am not sleep deprived.
So there's some hotels that are catering to this rising trend of sleep vacations. Westin hotels, according to this article, and this is from a website. Like I said, there's a ton of articles that I found. This website is We Are Teachers, and so they're talking about teachers needing lots of sleep. We all need lots of sleep, right? Westin has developed a wellness program. They have a heavenly bed, temperature-regulated interior of the bed, a plush topper that cocoons your body, and they've got the Sleep Well menu along with it, which includes sleep-enhancing superfoods and drinks. Then Sleep In. I've stayed at a couple of sleep-ins. I didn't know they have a Design to Dream location. They have Design to Dream locations where they've got nature-themed designs, warm colors, plush furnishings. How about the Four Seasons? You really like that one, didn't you, Dave? What
This is the home run. Now, you are paying a premium if you're going to the Four Seasons. Yeah. But before you go to sleep, you get the back and shoulder massage, and then they pour warm oil on your forehead. And it just runs into your hair, and then they give you the scalp massage and then wash it out, and then you basically sleep for 3 straight days because it's so incredible. Another one, it's the milk bath, the honey rose petal massage, and then again off into a night of deep sleep.
I need a pool and a cabana to go with that. Because I just want to be napping by the pool under the cabana away from the sun. Don't want too much sun. And then inside.
With the warm oil pouring over your head. Yeah.
This sounds.
Sign me up.
This sounds delightful. Let's ask our listeners to weigh in. 801-575-TALK. Would you trade in a whirlwind, fun-filled Disneyland-type vacation for a nap-filled sleepcation, a nap-filled sleepcation over a fun-filled whirlwind vacation? 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Could you do it? Next.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. The outbreak of avian flu in chickens and dairy cows in Utah is also a concern for turkey and pig farms. State veterinarian Dan Christensen says wild migratory waterfowl can spread the virus to turkeys.
But we're crossing our fingers that we're past the worst of the risk with the migratory waterfowl, hoping that we just go the rest of the season without any of our turkey facilities contracting the virus.
Dr. Christensen says the avian flu has also turned up in a couple of pigs in Oregon. He says that's an emerging problem, and they're keeping a close eye on the pig farms in Utah for any sign of infection. You can still register to vote now, even if you haven't had the chance. Utah allows in-person, same-day registration and voting. When you go to the polls, though, you'll need to bring 2 forms of ID to prove your identity and your address. Your driver's license or passport can do the trick, but if you don't have anything with your photo, then documents like your birth certificate and vehicle registration will get the job done. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. 33,000 Boeing workers voting today on a new contract offer that could end the strike. It would give them a 38% pay raise and a $12,000 bonus, but the company didn't budge on a key demand, and that's bringing back worker pensions. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down on the day now, 206 points. The NASDAQ is down 26 points right now. And our KSL weather. We could get some rain showers tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
One of my favorite things about Renaissance Ranch is they offer free online classes for people and families that have someone that is struggling with addiction. In fact, Debbie, I'm looking right now, and on Mondays at 8:45 this evening, you can go into a couples addiction recovery group.
And this is what's so amazing about these classes is, like you said, they're online, they're free, and you can do them in the comfort of your own, kitchen, at your kitchen table, in your living room. You do not have to have a loved one enrolled or a patient at Renaissance Ranch. They're just doing this to help people in the community, and I love this concept.
Because they know, and the research has proven this to be the case, when you have loved ones that are engaged with the recovery process, the chances of a positive outcome skyrocket.
And you don't want to lose yourself in your loved one's recovery. Come on, it's so easy to lose ourselves when our loved one is going through an addiction, and this is where Renaissance Ranch can really help you. It's faith-based, clinically proven for more than 20 years.
In fact, there's another one coming up in just about an hour and a half. It's a Working the Steps group. All you have to do is log on and go ahead and visit renaissanceranch.com.
This Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then, browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then, they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. You're invited to visit the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandswimspasale.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, there are no accidents reported right now anywhere across the Wasatch Front, and we've got good speeds on I-15 throughout Utah, Salt Lake, and Davis counties in both directions. Same story coming out of Tooele County on SR-36, I-80, and the 201 freeway, and no delays getting through any of the mountain passes right now on I-80, I-84, or Sardine Canyon. Teens can get up to $200 with a Teen Learn and Earn account, plus continue earning rewards as they master the essentials of finance. More at cypresscu.com/teen. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy, 47 today and 45 tomorrow with chance of rain. Right now, 41 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomis from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
We're getting some text messages not only about the topic we're talking about right now, which is a sleep vacation, but also about elections and the ins and outs of mailing your ballot and what the deadlines are and when the polls open tomorrow. Those are coming in on our text line at 57500. So I want to assure you, in the 11 o'clock hour, we're going to go in depth on a lot of those questions that you're asking us over text. So make sure you're with us for that coverage as we figure out, all those things that you want to know about your ballot with Election Day on the horizon tomorrow. Right now, we're talking about sleepcations and the rise of vacations that basically you just go there to nap and to sleep. And Dave said that he learned many years ago while covering a news story over at Channel 4 News across the street that one doctor said, look, you really need to use a 10-day getaway as a way to monitor how much sleep you need. And then you need to implement that schedule when you get back into the real world.
Have you ever heard of a sleep bank?
Yeah.
That's something that's pretty common. And what it essentially says is if you are sleep deprived, say you need 8 hours of sleep, but you're only getting 6 hours, then you're basically in a 2-hour sleep deficit. And so the next day you might get 8 hours of sleep, but you owe your body 2 hours. And when you start building up some of these sleep deficits, then your body just naturally starts to break down. It's more prone to get sick. You're not functioning as sharp as maybe you had hoped. And that's where I think these sleepcations are very, very beneficial, is they can help you catch up, because the research does show that you can catch up if you are sleep deprived. But
Yeah.
it may take a week to 10 days.
But would you be willing to leave town? Because I think you have to leave town. This is how I look at it. To really get away, I have to either take an airplane across state lines or drive across state lines and symbolically leave everything behind and spend the money on a week. Actually, you said 10 days to get away to take a sleepcation. I worry that some people would look at that and think that's a waste of money.
Yeah.
It's a waste of valuable vacation days. I would rather be at Disneyland or at a national park hiking and sightseeing. I would rather go see family, which keeps you on the go the whole time, than I would to admit that I'm exhausted, that I want nothing more than to nap and to sleep and to monitor my sleep habits to see how much sleep I actually need and how much I've been missing out on. I would say it's also could be pretty pricey. I mean, in the break, I was Googling around looking for places to stay, Dave. We talked about the Four Seasons, catering to sleep, and those hair oil massages that they give you and special beds that they give you that are warm and comfortable and cocoon you like a pillow. It's pricey. The Four Seasons, I picked Maui. I don't know why I picked Maui other than I couldn't think about a place that would be more delightful than going to Maui, and it was $1,200 a night. $1,200
Paid a lot for your
a
sleep.
night.
That's an expensive nap.
801-575-TALK. Would you give up a fun-filled vacation for a nap-filled sleepcation?
And I'd love to hear from people that have actually done this. If this is the way you vacation, one of our texters said, I leave for Cancun tomorrow. I do nothing but lay on the beach under an umbrella, and they bring me food and drinks, and then I sleep. I go all day, every day as a working mom. I leave my husband and kids at home when I go to Cancun.
I would love to talk to you. If you are still listening and you sent us that text, 801-575-TALK, I think a lot of working moms, I think all moms work, okay, whether you're full-time at home working or you're working in the home and out of the home. I would love to, first of all, know how we can clone your husband. That's amazing. And then also, what got you to that point where you said, I just need time away and I'm going to go to a resort community to get away and just regroup and refocus and rest? 801-575-TALK. If you're still listening, give us a call.
I've actually done this with my wife, not on a 7-day or 10-day basis, but for 3 or 4 days. I remember we were going to go up to Bear Lake in vacation, and she's like, this is going to sound weird. Can I stay home?
Good
I'm
for
like, wait,
her.
what do you mean you want to stay home? Like, well, are you going to be bored? It's like, no, I can do all my projects without any kind of kids hanging on me or anything. So we went up to Bear Lake. We were swimming and boat riding. We were doing all this fun stuff. And she just stayed home, and she loved it, which does not sound fun to me. That is not something that appeals to me,
I love
but
it.
she loved it.
I would look forward to when my husband would take our kids pheasant hunting for the day.
Yeah.
I'm happy to
Go
pack
shoot some birds.
Pack you up, load you up, and then I would look out and it would be snowing, and I'm like, oh, I hope they're not going to come home early. Hi, Shannon.
Hi.
Hi. Are you the one going to Cancun?
No.
Oh.
You know what I prefer?
What?
I love Palm Springs.
Oh
my gosh, you don't. The
Tell me
flight
about it.
is not as long.
Right.
They have lots of fun things to do, but I have literally gone there like after Thanksgiving, before Christmas, and slept in the hotel room for 2 days before I even come out. It is not too far away. The hotels aren't too bad, and I am sleep deprived, and I just cannot tell you. It's any amount of money. I have spent thousands trying to figure out what's wrong with me, and I know a few things, but it's just
You're tired.
It's not a life when you are going at 60%.
I know.
You know.
Oh, I feel. We could do an entire 6 hours on sleep deprivation and how it impacts our lives. Thank you so much for the call, Shannon. I'm excited to talk to Robin. You're going to Cancun.
Oh, yeah.
Talk
I need
about
it
this.
so bad.
Yeah, tell us.
So I do have a great husband.
I only have one child at home. The 6 others are adults and have moved out. And this child's 3. She has a nanny, so my husband doesn't have to worry about that while he's at work. But I only get 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night, and it's interrupted sleep. And I usually go twice a year because I literally feel like I'm losing my mind if I don't get caught up on sleep. And my husband will go and take his own vacation. We just don't vacation anymore together. I know it sounds weird.
Robin,
but that makes it a lot better.
I think when you are figuring out that your sleep deprivation, 4 to 6 hours, Robin, I'm right in there with you. Even today with my kids, I'm basically an empty nester. Robin, hold the line because I want our producer, Caitlin, to grab your phone number. I'm going to call you, maybe not today, but in a couple of days because I want to chat about something. As you were saying this, I just thought, how remarkable it would be if we could get to a point in relationships where you got to spend your own time regrouping and not have the other partner feel like it's a slight to them and it's actually, go ahead, Dave.
It's interesting that they both do it. That she, I guess allow sounds kind of weird, but they both allow each other to do this. But my guess, and my guess is that by both going away and vacationing and recharging the batteries, then sure, they miss out on that 4 or 5 days together, a couple times a year. But the rest of their 365 days is probably better because they both have recharged batteries. I guess I hadn't really thought about that, making that a consistent thing where both sides, do a little getaway.
Next, let's talk about something that I hadn't heard before. It's called a third space. Third space. Have you heard about it? We're going to find out what a third space is and how a third space could actually lift a child out of loneliness. Next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Winter's on the way. Soon the snow will be falling where? On your roof. If you need a new one, now's the time to call IWC Roofing. See, the shingle companies raise prices January 1st, but IWC will lock in this year's prices, even if you want your new roof next spring. And if you book now, they'll also give you an extra $2,000 off. $2,000 off IWC's already low prices. As the #1 residential roofing contractor in Utah, they get volume discounts on shingles and pass the savings on to you. Plus $2,000 off and you lock in this year's prices. IWC is one of the very few Owens Corning Platinum certified roofers in the state. Their precision teams are so skilled they'll re-roof your home in a single day. They'll send you pictures from the roof so you know exactly what you're getting, and then they'll power wash your driveway just to say thanks. Call now, 801-232-5690. That's 801-232-5690, or go to IWCRoofingUtah.com.
Fall is around the corner. Are you ready to upgrade your home with stunning new doors before the holidays, but are overwhelmed with how to begin? Peach Doors is here to make the entire process smooth and stress-free. Visit their showroom to see their wide selection of wood doors, durable fiberglass, energy-efficient aluminum, oversized glass bifold doors, and so much more. It's not just about looks, it's about durability and security to protect what matters most. Let Peach help find you the perfect match for your home, budget, and personal style. Visit their showroom and see for yourself. No pushy sales tactics and only guidance from their experienced staff. No inflated markups just to offer so-called discounts. See their 5-star reviews where customers rate them on their attention to detail through every step of the sale and installation process. Amazing home transformations begin with windows and doors. Serving Logan to St. George, just Google Peach Building to see for yourself. Or check out peachbuildingproducts.com.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan Silver Dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Americans treasure owning silver bars and coins, putting them away for themselves and their loved ones. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the the USA. You'll be glad you did. Hurry, don't miss out on this special deal. Save $10 per silver bar. The more you buy, the more you save. Limit of 25 bars per customer. Call to learn more. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan Silver Dollar. That's a $59.95 value and free shipping.
Call 1-800-222-3967 now
To secure your 1-ounce Morgan Silver Dollar bars.
That's 1-800-222-3967.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Tim and Amanda.
One of the things I love about radio is that we are all hearing it at the same time. One of the differences between that and just scrolling on your phone is that I don't know when that story was posted. Maybe an hour ago, maybe 3 days ago.
To your point about who wrote it, where did it come from, and is it dated information, our hope every day is that we can provide a more broad spectrum of information on a single topic that you can then take and make decisions on your own.
Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, bird flu has devastated some chicken farms in Utah, and there's worry it could do the same to turkeys. Second, Utah, like many other states, allows voters to register and vote the same day, but that registration still has to be validated. And third, 33,000 Boeing workers voting today on a contract offer that could end their strike. 41 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We are going to talk about what's called third place. Third place. Let's see, home is the first place our kids hang out. School is the second place our kids are at. But what is that third place where our kids go to interact with friends? And more, those places are disappearing.
Well, and think of how often we self-impose first and second places. That's where we spend all of our time. You know, whether it's at work or at school, at home, we spend the vast majority of our time in those places. And I want to learn more about this third place.
And how it can uplift kids out of loneliness, because we know that there is a loneliness epidemic. And in fact, the U.S. Surgeon General has been very out in front on this and is very concerned about it. But there has to be, some solutions, not just a discussion about the problem. So I'm glad to be sitting across today from Jessica Mertlich. She's a licensed clinical social worker. You work for the Granite School District and the Catholic Diocese, and you specialize in children and adolescents and families. So talk to us about what you're seeing in terms of this dwindling third place, Jessica, and get real close to the microphone for me. There you go.
Yeah, hello. I work with children and adolescents day in and day out, and I would say on a near daily basis, I have kids who are lamenting these feelings of loneliness or a lack of connection, and yet they can't quite figure out how to problem solve this. And to be fair, once I start taking them through these problem solving steps, I see why there's a struggle, right? When we talk about the overcommitted lives of kids these days, you've got Monday through Friday full with after school commitments, school workloads. Then on top of that, we don't have a place we can just walk to, right? We actually require parents to pick us up, drop us off for the majority of our adolescents. And so all those combinations are really creating this burden for kids who are already feeling lonely and overwhelmed to then have to go that extra space or extra step where they don't really know how to seek that independent connection with others.
So what qualifies as a third place?
Yeah, third place really needs to be this neutral, common ground, and it needs to be accessible. It needs to allow for a kind of larger space for community gathering. And we see some really increasing barriers where now the majority of it is, let's go here or here. Well, the cost is $20 to get in, right? Or you need a membership. It really requires this accessibility, freedom, and independence from direct adult oversight.
So when I was a kid growing up, our third place, especially in high school, was the mall.
Yeah.
We'd go hang out at the mall. I mean, whether you think it's healthy or unhealthy, that's where we hung out. We met with friends and we went to the food court and we hung out there. What's a good third place now? And when you talk, what comes to mind is I know like in Salt Lake County, they're giving away free passes for rec centers, which I think is
phenomenal.
A great thing for kids. And those seem to be, not all, but seem to be kind of centered around neighborhoods and schools. Is that a good option?
Oh, I
Even
think
though
it's
it requires
wonderful.
a membership, it's
with the free rec pass, I think that was such a wonderful move on Salt Lake County Council and Mayor Jenny Wilson. I think what the next step would need to be is then creating opportunity for them to gather, whether it's peer-to-peer opportunities, right? Having a
So not
space
just going
rather
and
just like,
hanging
you just
out.
go, right? But I do think if we're talking about this epidemic of loneliness, one of the biggest barriers is knowing how to take the first step. And if you don't already have those close friend connections to, send a message, hey, let's go meet up to go swim or rock climb or whatnot, it's really more about being able to show up and feel like you're going to find a connection there, whether it's been pre-planned or otherwise.
As a parent, how do we let go with some of the control and the watch them like a hawk mentality?
Yes, I think we are seeing this increased level of vigilance on parents' part, and it is creating, some real issues in terms of resilience and independence. I do think having spaces like at rec centers or libraries or places where you say, okay, my child's just not roaming the streets, right? Instead, I'm at a place where I feel comfortable having them there. However, I know that there isn't going to be this adult standing over them at all times, right? And so I do think it requires community effort to bolster these opportunities and these programs so that we can let parents feel more comfortable about getting them there and allowing them
Jessica Mertlick is a licensed clinical social worker. She works with the children in the Granite School District and also at the Catholic Diocese, and we're talking to her about third places and the disappearance of the third place in a child's life and how it could potentially lead to loneliness. Let's talk about that loneliness. How as parents do we ask our kids, hey, are you lonely? How do we broach that conversation?
Yeah, I think, like you said, honestly asking. Direct questions. You're going to increase the likelihood, right? Maybe not the first time, maybe not the second time. I also do think looking out for behavioral changes in general. Are you seeing a withdrawal socially, right? Do they feel a connection with their peers and now they're not connecting with those peers so much anymore? Is there increased use of technology, right? Are you seeing emotional regulation changes? Things like that are going to be big flags that probably give you an indication, okay, my child is definitely going through something at this time.
If you were counseling a kid of how they could do this and reach out maybe outside of their comfort zone, what is maybe a low-impact way to do that, to maybe get them out of that comfort zone of staying home or being with, the just the closest of friends or playing online?
Yeah, great question. I think, part of the issue is one thing that we like to do as parents is I'll just plan it for them, right? And that's actually going against that level of independence. I think having those open-ended questions, what are things you like to do? What are your interests, right? Oh, sounds like you really enjoy art. Are there art classes in your area that might sound interesting to you? So kind of feeding them these ideas where they kind of create their own sense of buy-in, I think, is going to make the biggest difference.
What I don't know if I view sports as a third place. Is it?
I think it does, especially.
This requires so much work sometimes.
It
for
does,
kids.
but it does create this community, right? You're pulling together a bunch of kids who probably have never met each other before, especially if it's at like a comp level or rec level team, and you're building these connections that then can transcend outside of that sport environment, right? So those are going to be the kids then that you're like, oh, let me go to the mall, let me go connect with them. But the problem is sports is usually the one that we point to, but that really starts drastically reducing in numbers, right? The older that we get because of, dropout rates or
cost.
Cost,
Cost.
things like that. Yeah.
And also some expectations maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
A great conversation. Jessica Mertlich is a licensed clinical social worker joining us to talk about the drop in third place opportunities for kids. Yeah, get them to the rec center. Go ask about that free pass. Get them signed up for a rec league. That was one of the things that, Dave, I came across when my kids were growing up is rec leagues weren't as prominent as they used to be. And so we had to put them in the more advanced leagues, which are a lot of money. So let's make a push to bring back rec leagues if we can.
Oddly enough, one of the places my kids ended up loving the most, none of them can play volleyball. They're terrible volleyball players, but there was a sand volleyball court at our local park, and that was the gathering point. That's where the friends ended up playing. It was the worst volleyball I've ever seen, but they loved it. They loved gathering.
Was it free too?
Yeah, it was all free. Just right out there at your park.
Well, we've talked in the past about parks not getting enough use.
It wasn't my kids. My kids were using it like crazy.
Yeah, obviously. That's awesome. Love it. Thanks, Jessica. It's been fun to talk to you. Boyd Matheson, straight ahead, joining us to discuss what we need to watch for the next 24 hours up until Election Day, which is tomorrow.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomis. KSL's top story this hour. Woman died, 2 others were injured in a crash in Taylorsville over the weekend. Police say the woman lost control of the car, which then rolled and hit a cinder block wall. The driver died at the scene. 2 passengers who were ejected from the car were taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Today is Utah's postmark deadline for mail-in ballots. They need to be marked by the post office by the end of the day to count. Ballots can be put in mailboxes before today's pickup times, but people who want to be extra sure can physically bring it to a post office, have it postmarked at the desk. You can also leave ballots in official election drop boxes until 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Both the Trump and the Harris campaigns accelerating their appearances today in key battleground states. Former President Trump began his day in Raleigh, North Carolina, talked about his speaking style.
The press will say, oh, he rambled. No, that's not rambling. You know what that is? That was genius. That's the weave.
The Harris campaign and NBC also getting some criticism after her appearance on Saturday Night Live. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down on the day right now, 172 points, and the NASDAQ is just barely down by about 3 points. Our KSL weather looks like sunny today, but we'll get some rain showers tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
This is Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group and host of Stop Working and Start Living Radio. If you're close to or in retirement and you don't have a tax plan, call us right now, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Listen, our country's been spending like never before, and the tax bill is coming soon. If you need an income tax strategy and a financial plan that will get you through the rest of your life, give my team a call, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. If you want an investment plan that allows you to keep more of your gains and pay less taxes, give us a call, 888-999-6370. My team specializes in the type of plan that will get you retired 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible. So, get a no-cost tax analysis by calling 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. My team is standing by now.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay. Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, it's a great time to get out on the roadways right now. If you're heading out for lunch or maybe even a late start to work, you've got good drives on I-15 corridor, northbound and southbound, trying to get into Salt Lake City. No problems working your way around the Salt Lake Valley on the east or west side belt routes, Bangerter Highway, Mountain View corridor, and the 201 freeway, all traveling at speed without any accidents reported. Attention commercial property managers and business owners, Snow doesn't have a campaign manager, but you do. Choose GoPave Utah to clear your lot and win the winter. GoPaveUtah.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy, 47 for the high today, 45 of the chance of rain tomorrow. And right now we're at 43 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic have inside sources.
We're getting some text messages from some of our listeners asking us about the deadlines and the ins and outs in terms of getting your ballot in. We will have full coverage of that in the 11 o'clock hour today, so stay tuned. Boyd Matheson, of course, bringing us full election coverage along with our entire staff of reporters and producers and us here, me and Dave as well, throughout the day today and tomorrow and Wednesday and likely Thursday. And Boyd's joining us in just a second.
Boyd, things have so radically changed, I think, the way we vote. And I think this is what my first question is for you. Now that we are voting for essentially 3 straight weeks, it's no longer, hey, the first Tuesday of November, and this is the day, and we're all excited. We've been voting, largely for the last 3 weeks. How is it different now, the 24 hours right now, to what it was, say, 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Yeah, very, very different. So we've got about 78 million votes have already been cast in this country. That's a big, big number. And so it causes a lot of things to really shift in terms of what are the candidates doing in the final 48 hours of, from today all the way through polls closing tomorrow night. What are they going to do? And so it's interesting. You've still seen a lot of the traditional things. If you watched any football yesterday or 60 Minutes or any of those programs, there were still a lot of ads going, both the Harris campaign and the Trump campaign. 2-minute ads, closing arguments, far more positive than a lot of the other ads we've been seeing. So really interesting tweak there at the end. So that's kind of changed the dynamic. We always kind of joke, anyone who's been in and around a campaign know that the last 48 hours for the candidate are the worst because they're just climbing the walls. And so a lot of times the campaign staff is just trying to keep the candidate busy. So they're not climbing the walls, stressing about every little thing. And so a lot of these rallies you're seeing right now, they're more for the candidate to blow off some steam than they are trying to really move the needle. The strategy is interesting, though. And this gives you some indication of what we should be watching for over the next 48 hours. So the Harris campaign today, in final day, is doing 4 events. Pennsylvania, 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 Pennsylvania. Full stop. That's
very telling, right?
Very telling. That's where they believe everything is. Trump campaign, on the other hand, North Carolina, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and 2 in Pennsylvania, and then 1 in Michigan. They're closing out in Michigan, where former President Trump has ended every campaign for some reason up in the peninsula there of Michigan. So that's telling. So it tells that they still are a little concerned about North Carolina. They want to galvanize a state that they really need to win there. Pennsylvania for the obvious reasons. And then they must believe that there's something to be done in Michigan. that there's enough of a wiggle there that maybe that blue wall that the Harris campaign believes they have in that upper Midwest maybe has a crack or two in it. So very telling in terms of where the candidates spend their time in those closing moments.
Can we talk for just a minute about the focus on Pennsylvania? You said that's where Harris will spend all day today at her final rallies, and that Trump will hit 2 rally locations in Pennsylvania. It has, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, is it 16 electoral votes? 19 electoral votes. Why Pennsylvania, Boyd? Because I'm hearing this not only from you, but I'm hearing it from experts all over the nation.
So this is the interesting thing with Pennsylvania. I think it is the linchpin this time around, because if you take it out, because of the number of electoral votes in Pennsylvania, absent Pennsylvania, it's hard to cobble together 270 to win. Okay. So in other words, if Vice President Harris wins Pennsylvania, then even if the Trump campaign did a royal straight through North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, they still come up 1 short. And there's
in terms of electoral votes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then the same thing is true if the former president wins Pennsylvania. Then Kamala Harris would have to do the same thing and run the table in all of those other places, and that just seems really hard. The interesting thing to me in all of this is so everything in all of those 7 swing states, all of the polling is within about a point if you put all the averages together there. So they're all inside the margin of error, and yet this could be a very decisive victory for either former President Trump or Kamala Harris because of the electoral math in this. Because if you win a few of those, you could actually win kind of going away, even still within that margin. So I know everyone's kind of on pins and needles that we're within 1% in almost all of these states. It's going to be so close, so close. It may not be that close in the end. It may be a pretty decisive election, which would be a good thing for the country. I vote for decisive. I also vote for divided government, if we can pull that off, regardless of who wins, because I think that helps with those checks and balances.
I think I read something this weekend that was fascinating. It was from pollster Scott Rasmussen. And we were looking at polls, and it said that Trump was leading 3.2 percentage points here, and Kamala Harris was 1.8. He's like, what are we doing with these 0.8s and the 0.5s? A level of granular detail, he said, which is totally inappropriate when you're looking at a plus or minus of 4, right? And I think there's this heightened sense of we think we know more than we do was the point he was trying to make.
Yes, and that's why I always turn to Scott. Scott and I were texting just early this morning, and as we were going back and forth, we were both kind of just chuckling a little bit because we're haggling over whether Kamala Harris has a 0.025 lead in Pennsylvania, and in the end, with the way the polling is going to swing, I think it's going to swing significantly. So I'm totally with Scott on this. We don't know nearly as much as we think we know. And some of us are trying to get control over what we're worried about by trying to control those numbers and get so into the weeds and so into the details. And there's just no way. Nobody knows. We are so inside. And then if you factor in underreporting, overreporting, because you can go back to all the way to 2012. Some people say, oh, it's just the former President Trump voters don't talk as much, and so you'll see that swing. The reverse happened in 2012 with Barack Obama. Everyone thought that was a razor-thin race with Mitt Romney. And in the end, it really wasn't that close.
When you say don't talk a lot, you mean they don't pick up their phones and talk to pollsters?
Yeah, they're unwilling to talk to a pollster.
Oh, I do wonder, and you probably know a lot more about this than I do. I do wonder if it is harder to get people on the phone, because I've talked about this before on this show with polling. All of my unknown phone numbers are silenced automatically, right? They go right to voicemail.
Yeah, and
then I never pick up. I don't call back.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that is...
There's 2 things to that,
Go
Debbie,
ahead.
that are really important. So one, all quality pollsters now are doing what's called mixed modal. So they will do some phone, they'll do some text, they'll do some online, and they'll try to do some live as well. And so they're trying to get all the different ways. They're trying to meet people where they are. And so it's no longer dependent just on someone answering a phone. Here's the really interesting thing, and this goes back to where we started, Dave, and that is with so many people voting early, Americans have this really interesting thing about the privacy of the ballot box. And once people vote, they are less likely to answer a poll because my vote's my business, and I've cast it. If they're still deciding, they're all too happy to talk to a pollster. Once they make that decision, they cast the vote, then it's like, hey, none of your business. So that's going to be a really interesting dynamic in all of this late breaking polling. Are they underreporting the people who've actually voted already? So because those are secure. That's not a lean or a likely. That's a vote. But a lot of those people aren't talking. So that's going to be a whole new dynamic, I think, in this year's polling.
Tens of millions. Would you say 78 million?
78 million already cast, and that was before the weekend. So it's a big number.
It's huge. I guess maybe we're on track to have record turnout. We won't know until tomorrow.
We won't know until we get all the way there. And as Scott Rasmussen also told me one time, someone asked him, what message are the voters going to send in this election? And he said, we will know on Wednesday. and they will send a message, because every vote is an expression of something we value or something we've chosen to prioritize.
Do you think if this is more of a blowout for one candidate or the other, is that something we may know on Tuesday?
It's possible. It is possible. Again, with as close as those states are, those 7 swing states, I think it could be decisive. I don't think it's super likely we get to the bottom line tomorrow, but there is a chance. And I think, again, my gut says it will be decisive one way or the other. Because normally what happens when you have polling errors, they usually all tend to go one way or the other. So it's not like you get a polling error that underrepresents Kamala Harris, and then the next one underreports former President Trump. Or if you have one that's underrepresenting President Trump, you're not likely to have the opposite. And so I think if there's underreporting either side, I think that will also kind of push. And that we will know before we get to the end of the day tomorrow.
Boyd, thank you. Look forward to it. Tomorrow's the Super Bowl. It's when they start counting the scores. Even though the scoring has already happened in many places, we really start figuring it out. Boyd, thank you. Look forward to Inside Sources today at 1.
Yeah, Boyd, we know you'll be offering our listeners full coverage this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon, and you'll be with Jeff Kaplan tomorrow evening as the results from the East Coast start dropping. So make sure you keep it right here. We're walking you up with our team of reporters and producers and hosts like the incomparable Boyd Matheson and Jeff Kaplan, teaming up with other political analysts to bring you the very latest here at KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Hi, my name is Kendon Holdaway, and I work for the National Kidney Foundation of Utah and Idaho. Before that, I worked as a dialysis technician at the largest dialysis center in Utah. And before that, I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease at age 14. However, I am one of the lucky ones. I have an amazing mother who gave me a second chance. She donated her kidney to me, and it changed my life. Thanks to her and a scholarship from the Kidney Foundation, I was able to graduate college, get married, and apply to medical school in hopes of becoming a doctor. Sadly, there are many who are not as lucky as I am. Every car you donate to towcars.org gives hope and help to 3,000 patients like me, many of whom are still waiting for their miracle. Towing is free and donations are tax deductible. Keep donations local by donating online at towkars.org. That's towcars with a K, like kidney.
Our Cougars have a week off.
He's gonna go! Touchdown!
Prepping for the rivalry game.
Touchdown, BYU!
There's plenty to be excited about, including your calls before BYU Utah on Cougar Nation. Join us 6 to 7 tonight on KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Trail mix, beef jerky, mixing all the soda flavors at the gas station soda machine. Snacks are better on the road. The gas is better when it's top tier. And the pit stop is better when there's a dinosaur there. Love the filler moments at a Sinclair gas station near you with DinoCare, our top-tier gasoline. Some sweet and salty snacks for the commute, and a big green dino for the memories. Find a gas station near you at SinclairOil.com. Sinclair, fill up your life.
This Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then, browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then, they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. You're invited to visit the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit NPSstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. NPSstore.com.
An airliner heads for Alaska with 101 passengers and crew. Then, somewhere over the Gulf of Alaska, Flight 293 slams into the icy water below.
Even if all 4 engines quit, it just doesn't fall out of the sky.
No bodies were recovered. Loved ones had no closure and were left to wonder.
What happened to Flight 293?
Unsolved Histories, What Happened to Flight 293 is available now. Follow us at unsolvedhistoriespod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, if you're voting by mail, today is the deadline for getting that ballot postmarked. Second, former President Trump is defending his speaking style at a campaign appearance in North Carolina, describing his tendency to move from one topic to another as the weave. And third, the presidents of BYU and Utah are urging football fans to rival right this week. 43 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
There's a new report out that caught Dave's eye this morning that 38 is now the new 28 when it comes to buying your first home. First-time home buyers across the nation, the median age is 38 years old, and you were shocked by that.
I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely shocked. The number that first came out in the headline is that said the average age of U.S. home buyers jumps to 56 years old. And I'm like, I don't know exactly what that means. But when you tell me that we just went from the first-time home buyer buying a home at 35 to 38, now we're almost approaching 40 before we're even getting into our first home.
Yeah, and with my takeaway on the average age of U.S. home buyers jumps to 56 is they're looking at some data and you and I both bought and sold homes in the last couple of years. Yeah. I mean, we know how old I am. We know I'm 10 years older than you. Is that what it is?
49 tomorrow.
You're going to be 49 tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
I thought you were going to be 50 tomorrow.
No.
I was planning for a 50th.
That's
I was
all right.
planning for a 50th birthday party
Don't
here.
take anything back yet.
What?
We'll just celebrate 2 years in a row.
It's not the same. Sorry, doesn't count. I'm going to have to
The balloons don't work.
Caitlin, our plan is off the table. Dave's only going to be 49 years old tomorrow, so we're not going to be celebrating the half-century mark. Doesn't count.
Doesn't count. Don't even bother.
Okay, so 56. Let's set that number aside because I want to talk about the 38. And we did talk to Russell Fawcett, his real estate agent. He's the owner of the Stern team of Omada Real Estate. He called the show and walked through why this is happening. I thought, I do really want to talk to you about this because, and he said this, I said this jokingly, but think about getting married because you have a better chance of getting into a home if you have, if you're married and there's 2 incomes.
One of the things that I think that we're not talking about that actually drives that is people are waiting to get married. So if you want the first tip of, possibly what do you need to do to buy that first home, maybe consider getting married because it's now over 30 for the average age when people are getting married. So I say that jokingly, but that is one of the big factors delaying why people are waiting to buy that first house.
kind of jesting in earnest, though, if we're being completely and totally honest, because the average, and all this data comes from the National Association of Realtors. This came out just this morning. This report did. And I was so glad that we jumped on it because it's crucial to really break down the numbers. Now, in America, the average annual U.S. household is $80,000. But we know here in Utah, Kelce Gardner has done great reporting on this, that you have to make almost $130,000 to afford a home. So you can see this huge disparity between the salaries that we're making and how much we need to make if we want to get into a home.
So are you suggesting that if you're married, it would make it more financially reasonable to get into a home? Because if you're both working, there's that two income.
And that's the key, right? Whereas I bought my first home, it was a single income family, right? And that was something I was able to do. We were able to do. My wife stayed at home and was raising kids. That's, quite honestly, that's not a reality now unless you have what is called an outsized income. If you have an outsized income, then okay, maybe you can afford a home without a dual income, but you're going to have to be making, again, here in Utah, about $130,000 a year. You're not making that in your 20s. Most people are not making that in their 20s. You have to be pretty advanced in your career and have a high earning career to be making $130,000 just on a single income.
So what's the solution? If marriage isn't on the horizon for you, and we're not advocating that you run out and find somebody to drag to the altar and marry so you can get into your first home, would never say that. Marriage is a huge commitment, and so is buying a home. There's a lot that goes into both. But he did talk about some house hacking tips.
Some of the things that we're seeing people do, when they're buying a home, whether they're single or early on, would be what we call house hacking. So even in Salt Lake, they've approved it's a lot easier to do an ADU unit. So buying a home and then figuring out, can I rent the basement? Or if I'm single, can I rent out some of the rooms to other people, but not waiting for marriage to buy that first home to start gaining equity.
That right there is the key, is we have to look at these numbers, be very honest about them, be very honest about what we're making, and I think we need to change our expectations of what owning a home looks like.
Would you house hack if you were a single guy?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Go out and buy the home, see if you can qualify for it, get into it, and then rent out rooms to 10 of your closest friends.
Yeah.
But you would certainly have to probably tell the mortgage company that you were going to rent out some of it. I mean, I'm sure
to be able to qualify.
Yeah, the behind the scenes qualification
a lot that goes into
and stuff like that. But just the idea of, I say that in jest, 10 friends, but maybe 2 or 3.
One thing that you can do here in Utah, which is, I don't know how unique it is, but it was new to us when we found out about this, was you can buy a home with up to 4 other people. So you're buying a quarter of the home, almost a timeshare idea. Mm-hmm. But this is one way where you can invest in the home. You could buy a $500,000 home, but you're only in it $125,000 per person. Now, can you find 4 people that have the same plans?
This just makes me all kinds of nervous. You start talking about that and I get anxiety thinking about that, because if there's a falling out among friends and you own something, like you're legally bound to somebody through a home purchase, that just makes me nervous. But go ahead.
In part, though, they are legally bound to you as well.
I know.
So it's not just like, hey, I'm out of here, folks. They have the legal obligations to pay for this. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's clean. I'm not even saying it's right for you. But if we change our expectations and we look at it differently, then there's a way to make this work. There's a way to make this work, because right now, if you're just waiting for me to make $130,000 and I've got to be nearly 40 years old before I can buy my first home, that is a broken system. And we have to learn how to life hack it And we can life hack it in a number of ways, as you heard, whether it's an ADU, whether it's purchasing it with friends and family, renting out a room, whatever it might be. We've got to look at it and say, you know what? My first home isn't going to be 5 bedrooms. It's not going to have a big yard with trampolines in the backyard.
What about gifting? We talked about gifting, and there are some things, boxes you have to check when you gift somebody money for a home. Like, it can't be a loan, and you pretend like it's a gift. Like, you have to tell the mortgage company and present a letter and have it be official that you're gifting them this money in order to purchase the home. But let's say you gift somebody, $18,000 to help get them into their first home.
What surprised me in this report is that 25% of folks, this is exactly what's happening. A quarter are getting a gift from a family member, a loved one, a grandparent, even a friend. But I think that speaks to how incredibly difficult it is for most people. How many of us have a family member or a cousin or a grandparent where we can go and say, hey, can you give me $80,000?
But Russell said, Russell Fawcett with the Stern team, he said that some family members are doing that early in lieu of, you inherit this after I die. I've got this pile of money sitting here, and I'd rather spend it on you now and see you joyfully, getting into your first home than, after I pass away and I have no idea, what home you bought. I mean, I could see that as kind of thinking about things a little differently than we have.
It's a great point. It's something I've actually had a conversation with my mom because oftentimes we do. We worry about what are we going to pass on? Well, my mom's 80 years old. I'm turning 49 tomorrow,
She's
right?
not 80.
78, 79.
No,
yeah.
she looks 60. But okay.
No, she's...
No, I just saw her. She looks 60. We're the same age, Barb.
No, but it really speaks to, listen, by the time my mom passes away, I'm established. I don't need her money. Not that I wouldn't appreciate it, not that I wouldn't be grateful, but quite honestly, I have my career, I've got my home, I don't need it. So I can see where parents or grandparents would look at things a little bit differently now and say, you know what, instead of waiting to give you the inheritance, when you're in your 60s or in your 50s, maybe I can do it when you're in your 30s.
Straight ahead, News Nation joining us live in just a few minutes, taking a look at the national landscape of the final push until Election Day. And then stay tuned because we're going to have all of your ballot deadlines for you as well when Weaver County Clerk Ricky Hatch joins the show to tell us when polls open tomorrow and when you have to cast your ballot by and when it needs to be in the mailbox. That's coming up.
It's 11:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomis. KSL's top local story this hour. A doctor from Provo accused of assaulting at least 94 Utah County women expected in court today. David Broadbent, who was an OBGYN, is accused of sexually assaulting women during medical treatment, and this will be his first hearing since criminal charges were filed in that case. The presidents of BYU and the University of Utah challenging fans to pour their rivalry passion into serving the community. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
President Taylor Randall and C. Shane Reese are pushing the Rival Right program. Part of this includes both schools hosting the Tackling Hunger Together food drive. Anyone who wants to donate can find bins at Smith's locations across Utah and Salt Lake counties. But at the end of the day, both President Randall and President Reese want fans to keep it competitive but remain civil.
Both leaders want people to remember their common humanity before this weekend's rivalry game. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Former President Trump started his day campaigning in North Carolina. Vice President Harris is zeroing in on Pennsylvania with events all day in various cities. More from ABC's Karen Travers, who had details on the surprise appearance the vice president made on Saturday Night Live.
It was a big surprise. Her campaign plane was expected to go from North Carolina to Michigan. The reporters on the plane were told during that flight, we're actually going to New York City right now. And then everybody started buzzing when it landed as they headed to 30 Rock for that appearance.
A member of the FCC was critical of NBC for allowing the appearance with just days left in the campaign. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down on the day right now, 208 points, while the NASDAQ is down but less than 2 points. And our KSL weather looks like we'll get a little bit of showers coming in on Election Day tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:33.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
When I started up with Salt Lake City Fat Loss, it was with some pretty lofty expectations. I'd heard them tell me, a lot of people will lose 20 to 30 pounds in just a month or two. We have the secret to losing a pound of fat a day. And I was so excited about it, I said, okay, now walk me through the program. Am I going to have to do injections? No injections. How about surgery? Nope, no surgery as well. With Salt Lake City Fat Loss, I lost 57 pounds in 60 days. And they taught me how to maintain it, how to keep it off. And it doesn't mean taking out every food that you've ever loved in the history of your life. You're not cutting it out forever. You're just learning how to eat in a smarter, better way, more sustainable way. So if you're interested, you want to lose some weight, it's been super effective for me, go ahead and give them a call. Schedule a free consultation at slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com.
You know what? I think the holidays are the worst time of year for your furnace to go out. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and every November it feels like people get extra stressed when faced with the need to replace their furnace. The money they've been saving is supposed to go to Christmas, and now they're faced with a choice: Christmas or comfort. This holiday season, Any Hour Services wants to help alleviate some of that stress with our special holiday financing. No money down and no payments until next year. Plus, if you schedule a free estimate before the end of November, Any Hour Services will give you $2,500 off any full system you buy. And that doesn't even factor in the rebates and incentives you might qualify for. Again, during the month of November, Any Hour Services will give you $2,500 off any furnace and air conditioner you buy. And you can take advantage of our special holiday financing with no money down and no payments until next year. For more details, call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Because now at Staples, you can save up to $50 on your print purchase. From posters and flyers to signs and menus, Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. And with Staples Print Perfect Guarantee, it's done right or it's printed again free. Plus, same-day service is available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. Get it printed right at Staples. And now get up to $50 off your print purchase. And 7 visit staples.com/print for details.
This holiday season, Capital One reminds you to give yourself the gift of 1.5% cash back with the Capital One Quicksilver Card.
Can I earn 1.5% cash back on birds?
Birds?
What if you sent your true love 2 turtle doves plus a partridge in a pear tree?
Sure, but why would anyone want that?
The song was very convincing.
Earn 1.5% cash back on all your holiday purchases with the Capital One Quicksilver Card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Ricky Meese.
Nice and quiet on the Valley freeways. You're good to go on I-15 both directions between Ogden and Provo. Salt Lake City PD wrapping up a crash 800 South, 1300 East. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy today with a high 47. Tomorrow, 45 with a chance of rain. And right now, we're at 45 degrees with a few clouds over the mountains. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, your voice, your vote, 2024. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
Well, here we have been walking uphill for, how long has this race been going on, Dave? For months and months and months and months. Good part of the year, about a year and a half, when the first candidate threw their hat in the ring. And here we are, one day out from Election Day. Both presidential candidates hitting the campaign trail hard. And you heard Boyd Matheson say, in part, that's because their campaign staff and teams are trying to keep the candidates busy because, they're nervous. They're nervous.
Can you believe it was July 21st when President Biden dropped out? To me, it simultaneously feels like no time whatsoever, and it also feels like forever ago that he dropped out. And that was only in July. We're looking at November 4th right now. What an incredible election season it's been. Leland Vittert joins us right now. He's the host of On Balance with Leland Vittert and News Nation's chief Washington anchor. Thank you so much for joining us. What can you tell us about the candidates? What are they up to today?
So this is the barnstorm day. Leave nothing in the green room. Live coverage throughout the day on News Nation. Donald Trump's already an hour plus behind, so he'll be in Pittsburgh tonight. Megyn Kelly will be with him, and then he'll close out in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Kamala Harris is in Pennsylvania as well, and it just shows you what both campaigns think this will come down to, which is Pennsylvania and Michigan. The VP candidates are in Wisconsin, so this is the last day. And this isn't so much about changing any minds as it is trying to convince people who have not voted early to get out and vote, and more importantly, to tell their friends to get out and vote. So that's where we're at.
We're just talking to our very own Boyd Matheson here, Leland, about polls and how accurate they may or may not be once we finally figure out who wins the presidential, who wins the Oval Office. But what's your take, or what are you seeing with the polls? What are they telling us today?
I'm going to be counterintuitive in that the polls are very close, which tells me this is not going to be a very close election. I think it's going to break one way or the other. We just don't know which way. If the polls were wrong the way they were in 2016, Donald Trump will win in a landslide. If they were wrong the way they were in 2022, after Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court, then Kamala Harris will win in a landslide.
So many of the eyeballs right now, obviously in Pennsylvania, with Vice President Harris doing all of her campaign events, it looks like, in Pennsylvania. Is that the one swing state? Is that the swing state that matters, or is there a little dark horse in there that might throw everyone for a loop?
It's very, very, very difficult to understand how Kamala Harris wins the presidency without winning Pennsylvania. It is possible, but it's a little bit like having snow at Park City in July. So, anything's possible. But it's very difficult to understand how she would win the presidency without Pennsylvania. So, the map, as we always like to talk about it, provides different paths. And most of her paths lead through Pennsylvania. That doesn't mean that if she wins Pennsylvania, she wins the presidency, because you could have a situation where she wins Pennsylvania but loses Wisconsin, and Donald Trump is the president.
Let's turn. We haven't talked a lot, actually, about the House and Senate races. What are you tracking there, Leland?
Again, things don't happen in a vacuum. So if we see the presidential race shift towards Donald Trump in the evening, that could be a situation where you end up with McCormick in Pennsylvania winning. Mike Rogers in Michigan seems like a stretch, but Eric Hovde in Wisconsin could certainly win as well. You're talking about a Republican plus 3, plus 4 Senate, where Republicans have some real maneuvering rooms in the Senate. That gives Donald Trump a lot more freedom of action. The flip side of that is if this is a good night for Kamala Harris, Republicans could end up with a 50-50 Senate or a 51-49 Senate with Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins as the swing votes. And that would totally change the map as well. So I think what we're underestimating here is the potential of extreme results, even though the polling is very close.
Where theoretically, could you have? I can see a Republican House, Senate, and presidency. could you just as easily see one with Harris taking all three, or is it going to be divided government with a Harris victory and then a possibility of a landslide with Trump?
I think that's a great question. It's much more difficult to get to a Harris, the Democrats keeping the Senate, but it's possible. And again, I think that's where we're seeing because we don't know how these groups that are shifting, right? College-educated Republicans are shifting towards Harris. By how much we don't know, because we haven't had an election like this, especially in the post-Dobbs world or post-Roe being overturned world. And we have to think about, is there a situation where we know there's voters who are going to vote, say, for Bob Casey for Senate in Pennsylvania, but also for Donald Trump. Is there a situation where you have voters voting for Eric Hovde in Wisconsin, but then voting the Republican, but then voting for Kamala Harris for president? So that's where these sort of combinations get very jumbled, and it's impossible for people to say they really know how big these swings inside these small demographic groups are going to be.
You're right. It will be fascinating to see how many of those voters do split their ballot, where they go with a Republican here and a Democrat there. It'll be fascinating to watch that unfold. Leland Vittert, thank you so much for joining us, News Nation's chief Washington anchor.
Okay, we've been seeing your texts drop in all morning long. We appreciate your questions, and we're going to ask them of Weber County Clerk Ricky Hatch straight ahead when he calls this show. Everything that you need to know about ballot deadlines and election day deadlines straight ahead.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates. This weekend only, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandswimspasale.com.
Tim and Amanda.
One of the big differences, I think, between reading a story online and hearing it from us, Tim, is that, you and I are allowed to share a reaction. We need to be able to say, what in the world were they thinking? So that people listening will know. We feel it too. When we read a story that sounds ridiculous, we're right with you. It sounds ridiculous.
Well, we get caught up, I'm sure just like our listeners do sometimes, in death scrolling on social media.
Yeah.
And fact-checking it on your own is tough. The great thing about tuning in every morning and starting your morning with us on KSL is you can count on the fact that when that information comes out of the radio in your direction, it comes from reliable sources.
It's already been fact-checked.
Right. And that's not always easy when you're getting it online. Finding who wrote it, when was it written, has it been updated with the current facts of the day that change sometimes minute to minute, not just day to day.
Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. Be the someone who gives their time. Be the someone who lends an ear. Be the someone who takes a step. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN, asking you to join the fight against sexual violence and volunteer in your community. Log on to RAIN.org, that's RAINN.org, to learn how you can be the someone.
This message brought to you by the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network and this station.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Founded in 2016, San Diablo Artisan Churros has taken a beloved Mexican tradition and made it a gourmet experience in Utah and beyond. Their mission is simple: create the best food experience through innovative churros that surprise, delight, and fill lives with happiness. Here's CEO Scott Porter with more.
At San Diablo Artisan Churros, we're passionate about more than just food. We're passionate about people. Our gourmet, fresh-filled churros bring happiness through unforgettable food experiences. It all started for me on the street stands of Mexico City. Now we create churros on demand that are filled with things like dulce de leche, Nutella, and amazing seasonal flavors. We believe in interaction, not just transaction. For us, we're all about filling lives with happiness, one churro at a time. From catering weddings and parties to our churro-making kits as awesome corporate gifts, we pride ourselves on delivering a unique churro experience with wicked good treats that you'll never forget. This year, we're really excited to introduce frozen churros in your grocer's freezer. They're take and bake packs to quickly air fry churros at home anytime. Our core values, dedication, attention to detail, and fun are at the heart of everything we do, helping us build a tradition of excellence. Come taste the happiness at San Diablo Artisan Churros.
San Diablo Artisan Churros is creating a legacy of joy and unforgettable food experiences with every fresh-filled churro. To learn more or book their food truck, visit sandiablochurros.com. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a first court appearance today for a Provo doctor accused of multiple cases of sexual assault. Second, the presidents of BYU and the University of Utah say there's a way to rival right before this weekend's big football game. And third, reporters on Vice President Kamala Harris's plane were surprised and they wound up going to New York last weekend for her appearance on Saturday Night Live. 45 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, thanks so much for all the text messages that you've been sending us this morning. Of course, you can text us anytime with your questions. We try to get them answered at 57500. And with our final countdown upon us to Election Day, we're getting text messages from our listeners, Dave, about questions like, when can I mail my ballot? And what is the deadline to mail? And when do polls open? So we thought we would just bring on Ricky Hatch, who is the Weber County Clerk, to help walk us through it.
And this is important because Election Day is not Election Day like when I was 18 years old. It was Tuesday, and that's when you voted. You voted on Tuesday. We even talked about having a national holiday so everyone could be off and could go in and elect. And now it's 3 weeks worth of Election Day. Ricky Hatch joining us right now, Weber County Clerk. Let's just start ticking through some of the things that we need to know. Number one, can you still register?
Yes, Utah is a same-day registration state, and so you can come into the polls if you're not registered, bring proper ID, preferably a driver's license or state ID that's current, and then we can help get you registered, and you'll vote provisionally, which just means we do the checks after the fact before we actually count your ballot.
Is it just one ID, or do you need two pieces of ID?
Good question. It actually depends on the type of ID. If it's a government-issued photo ID, such as passport or driver's license, something like that, you just need one. Always good to bring a second set of IDs, and that can be something like a utility bill or a Medicaid statement, Medicare statement, something like that. Anything that's from the government that shows your name and your address, that should be something that'll help get you registered.
And Ricky, is that only at the county clerk's offices that they can do that, or can they do it at any site for voting?
Yeah, you actually want to do it at the voting locations.
Okay.
So at the polling places and vote centers. That's much better. If you go to the clerk's office, they might not be able to issue a ballot. So go to where the voting's happening.
Great.
And also no Costco membership card. That doesn't count. That's not your ID.
No.
Just so you know.
No, and those pictures are horrible. So
They
you
are.
can't do that.
It doesn't look like a human.
It's better than my driver license, though. It's better than my driver license. So sorry to the driver license division, but Costco did a better job.
All right, so let's talk about the drop-offs versus having your ballot postmarked. Walk us through those two.
Yeah. Okay. If you're going to mail your ballot, you have to get it postmarked today. don't drop it in a postal service box. Go into the counter and ask for a hand stamp or a ball stamp or just a stamp. Say, please postmark this. They've all been hearing about this at the post office, so they know what to do. But go in and get it stamped. Don't just rely on dropping in a drop box, especially if you live in southern Utah. Now, if you're voting in person, if you're not going to use the Postal Service, then you can use drop boxes all the way up until tomorrow night when polls close. But again, don't push it. Don't come screaming into the parking lot at 7:59 p.m. because by law, we have to lock those exactly at 8 o'clock. And if you're driving into the parking lot at 8 o'clock and 1 second, we're not going to let you vote because that's against the law.
Okay, so Ricky, just back up. If they're going to go to the post office today to mail their ballot in, what you were asking them to do is actually go to the clerk, the desk there, and speak with a human who works at the post office and have them stamp with a postmark in the moment, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's crucial.
Okay. And then if they choose to use a ballot box, are the ballot boxes open tonight for them to drop it off?
Yes, ballot boxes are open in most counties. They're open 24 hours a day, and they're under video surveillance to keep them safe. But if it's outside, it's going to be open 24 hours a day. Some drop boxes are located inside buildings, and so they would be subject to the hours of that particular building. But you should be able to look on your county clerk's site, and they'll give you the hours of each drop box location.
Let's say I want to go completely and totally old school and vote in person, stand in a line, get an I voted sticker. How do I figure out how to do that?
We love having in-person voters. So just look at your county clerk's website or go to vote.utah.gov, figure out what locations are available, and then plan to get there. There may be some lines. I would, prepare for that. Bring your ID. And then you can go vote in line and get your I voted sticker. Most counties also now include I voted stickers with the ballots that they mail out. But a lot of people like to come in person. It's a tradition. It's fun, and I don't blame them at all. And we'll always have that option available for voters.
Ricky Hatch is the Weaver County Clerk. We asked him to join the show today because we saw a stack of text messages from listeners who are voters and want to know all the ins and outs and making sure they get their ballot in on time. What time do the polls open tomorrow, Ricky? What time do they close?
They open sharp at 7 a.m. and then close sharp at 8 p.m.
How soon could we get results?
Well, in Utah, the results are never official until 2 weeks after Election Day. It's been that way for decades. That's to allow the election officials time to look at the provisional votes, people who didn't bring ID or who had some kind of issue. It just gives us a chance to run audits and reconciliations and triple check all of the numbers to make sure they're official. So officially 2 weeks from tomorrow. Unofficially, you're going to see a lot of results tomorrow night, and those are going to represent a really big statistical sample. And so generally, unless the race is close, the winners and losers shouldn't change. But if it's close, there's a chance that those could flip over the next 2 weeks. And we'll update those as we process the ballots that come in really late. If you drop a ballot in a drop box at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. on election night, we're not going to be able to go through all of the checks and controls to report that as of election night. That's going to take a couple days because we want to be careful with everybody's ballot. But so you'll see periodic releases in the days following Election Day. Generally, by the middle of next week, you're looking at 99.9% of all results will be released.
How many people actually show up to vote in person versus either mailing it or dropping it off?
Oh, it's a great question. In the past few elections, we've seen about 98% of voters use the mail service or drop boxes, and about 2 to 3% will come and vote in person. I suspect we'll see a little bit more. We might see upwards of 3.5%, maybe even 4 or 5% of people vote in person this year.
Okay, so if you get a mail ballot, but you want to vote in person, Ricky, the quiz questions just keep on rolling.
I love it.
Okay. So if I got a mail ballot on the counter and I want to vote in person, do I have to tote my mail ballot to the poll place, which sounds super weird, but how do I do that? Do I show up and get a new ballot?
Yeah, you're certainly welcome to bring your ballot in. In fact, you can mark it, bring it in, go through the check-in process, and drop it in a drop box right there.
Okay.
You can do that, or if you want to come in and do it and not even bring the ballot, that's fine as well. In most counties, you're going to receive the same ballot in the same envelope that we mailed to you, and you're going to mark it out and drop it in a drop box. So it doesn't totally make sense to go ahead and do that, but you're certainly welcome to. In some counties, you actually will scan your ballot at the polling place or use a touchscreen machine that captures the ballot and provides a printout.
I was just thinking about the one person who forgets tomorrow's election day and they drove off without their mail-in ballot, but they want to swing into a polling place. I just wondered how that worked. But, Ricky, you're the best. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Ricky Hatch, Weber County Clerk, thanks so much for your tips to help us get through tomorrow.
Thank you.
I think it's fascinating that in the last several elections that we only have 2 or 3%. He thinks maybe as high as 5% this year of people that actually vote old school, that go in person, cast it. Most people, 95, 98% of folks right now are taking their ballot, they're filling it out at their kitchen table or wherever, and then they drop it off or they mail it in. That is a staggering number. And then you can also track your ballot. Just go to vote.utah.gov and you can sign up for notifications. You can get them by email or by text message that say, yep, we received your mail. It's getting processed. All of that can happen just by going to vote.utah.gov.
You know, Salt Lake County voters are turning out in huge numbers, according to our reporters here at KSL News Radio. And some voters in Salt Lake County have told us their ballot boxes are overflowing when they go to turn in their ballot, when they went this morning to turn in their ballot. Maria Chaleos has that and much more straight ahead.